This show brought to you by Audible.
Yeah.
Jen, tell them about your Stephen King books.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so if you have just seen the new Pet Sematary trailer and it looks awesome, you should read Pet Sematary on Audible. And Michael C. Hall, is it Michael C. Hall? It's Dexter.
That is Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
I know him from 6 Feet Under.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
because you're a smart person.
No,
I know him
because
from
I don't like
Dexter because
scary
I'm going to
things.
kill everyone.
What are we doing?
Who's the guy in
Nobody
Revenge
cares.
of the
Audibletrial.com/horror version. Get 30 days free and a book to get you started.
Yes.
Nerds. Your loft here is going to smell like fucking essential oils.
It's better than dude feet.
Huh. Dude feet, there's nothing better than dude feet.
Dude feet, brought to you by Astronaut Cop.
by Astro Cop.
Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Oh, shit.
I'm Jennifer.
That's the quickest start. Oh, I guess I'm the Horror Virgin Todd.
Yeah, and we're actually recording, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
That was a really quick start.
That was a really quick start.
Just like the boyfriend at the beginning of
Oh
Halloween.
my God,
I just got right
Honestly,
in
it
and
was
right
a
out.
minute.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
Nice.
minute.
Sweet.
I still don't think they had sex. We'll get into it. We got some guests today, though.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
And Clint couldn't make it today.
Clint couldn't make it, but we've got Luke Rodriguez from the Modern
Am I
Horrors
back,
podcast.
or is this?
You're,
this is the first one.
Okay,
The
I'm
one,
here.
the one we recorded last time
welcoming for
is
the very
You're Back.
first time ever. This
You're right.
is Luke
Yes,
Rodriguez.
exactly.
Hey, we'll just go back in time and fix it. So we got Luke Rodriguez and we've got Jonathan Watkins.
What's up?
Hey, and you're from CinemaSins.
I am from CinemaSins.
and
Yes.
now TV Sins.
And now
too.
TV Sins.
So do you
That's
run
right.
the channel for TV
I
Sins?
mean, I technically, I guess I co-run it. I mean, we all,
cool.
yeah, me and Aaron Dicer, we write for it and
Name
kind of
dropper.
co-run it, do the Twitter feed and all that fun stuff. But I write for all the channels. We're just we're a fun family.
And you love Halloween.
I do love Halloween.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the way, obviously you guys know how we got Luke on the show. He's like the head of the whole podcast network.
Our boss.
And yeah, I guess if we had a pod boss,
Whoa.
he's the pod father.
I'll take that.
Podfather.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Although we found out he's like 20 years younger than all of us.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he's 8 years old, guys. His mother let me in his house this morning.
All the doors were just open.
Yeah, every door was open in the house, just like in the stupid fucking movie. And we met Jonathan through Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we've interacted a lot through Twitter.
Yeah.
We were trying to find a good episode for you to be on.
So if
and
you interact with us, you may end up on the show,
That's
guys.
true.
That's really. We were like, who's really active? Oh, and he's local. Let's get him on the show.
Right.
That's how Modern Horrors works. Like, oh, like you like what we do? Do you want to write for us? Or something?
Right, right.
Yeah.
You
It's
like
the
it?
best. Do you want to work for free?
We're sitting on a gold mine, though. We just haven't.
Oh yeah,
activated
a
the gold
fun mine
yet.
for sure.
A what mine?
A fun mine? You know where
fun
people go
mine?
to mine fun. I'm an idiot. Let's move on.
Edit. Yeah, so we watched Halloween, the original from 1978.
Yeah, the original Halloween with introducing Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
We had to watch it on a really shitty TV.
Oh
too,
my
man.
gosh! Yeah, it had like
I'm
rabbit
never
ears.
leaving Luke's place.
Yeah, so we're at Luke's house, and oh my god. Okay, so Luke and I he has a room that is the same size as our pod loft.
It's the Modern Horrors pod loft.
Yes,
and it is
except-
much better than the Horror Virgin pod loft. The TV we watch on, we have to lean in.
That's not true. It's a good pod loft.
But
their screen is
it's not
probably,
about size. It's how
it's
you utilize
quality.
it. Right.
I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick, but I've been to legit film festivals that my setup kicks their ass.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
because
I believe it.
This is like, I mean, I can't even describe this screen. It is like a legit movie screen. Okay, so we're sitting on a gigantic
So you would say if you had to
sectional.
describe it, that it's
Yeah.
a legit movie screen?
How can I?
I can't
I don't know what
describe
the
this
words I
legit
should
movie
say.
screen.
It's huge.
I just
though.
like that 3 minutes into the movie, he was like, the subwoofer's not on, I can't do this.
I know.
And paused it and turned the subwoofer on.
yeah.
We were
That
like-
shit was the best.
And then the couch started shaking every
I know,
time
and
the
I
music
was
came
not
on.
okay with it.
Yeah, this
I
screen
jumped more in this movie than because older movies, not to jump into the movie before you're whatever you're
Who's
talking
in
about.
charge here, Todd?
In most older movies, I don't jump as much as I
Yeah.
do in this one. Like this one, there were some jump scares that sort of got to me.
And I don't think you would have if we watched him in our pod loft.
That might be true, but the lights were off.
Yeah.
The stairs were behind me, which I hate ever since you
In an
told me on
open
Evil
bathroom.
Dead.
And that John Carpenter score is legit, man.
Yeah, it is.
John Carpenter's. I didn't realize he wrote like the music and the like this. He did everything in this movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The whole
Well,
story,
and Deborah
I
Hill,
guess,
yeah.
is that he made the movie and he takes it to show whatever
Yeah.
movie execs are watching it. And they're like, well, this movie sucks. Like, it's not scary at all.
They didn't like this movie.
They didn't like it. They said this shit sucks. So he takes it back, sits in front of his synthesizer, bangs out some notes. Doom, doom, doom,
Like
doom,
3
doom,
days
doom,
it took
doom,
him to
doom,
score the whole
Takes
thing.
it back, and they're like, this shit's terrifying.
Yeah.
he does a very thing that seems very simple, but nobody else really does this, where you always know where Michael is. You always know where the killer is.
Yeah, I noticed
And
that.
that's a very simple concept, but and there are some jump scares and shit in this, of course, but that really helps, I think, as well.
But it was very effective on a gigantic ass screen. Because
Yeah.
I've seen this like just kind of folding laundry in the background, and I never really thought it was that scary or effective. And I don't
So
really
your
like it that
TV is
much.
like the one they're watching in the movie.
Those are my rabbit ears in the bag that you guys
Oh my
broke.
God. Yeah, we had to move our stuff over here, so Jen packed it up, and there are legit rabbit ears that she packed up.
Yeah, I don't know what they are.
Where do
so
you
I always
get
just put them in the
those?
bag.
I don't even know.
know. I think
Did
they
you go to Radio Shack in 2002
I
to
think
get
somebody
those? Like, what
abandoned them in my
Electronic
house
Express. open back up just for
She
you.
went to Circuit City.
They've been dead for 10 years at my house. Yeah,
Circuit
I don't
City's
know.
been dead for 10 years for sure.
Oh, Circuit City.
Oh,
that was the
man.
best place to get CDs because they were cheap.
All right, so should we go through this fucking
Yeah,
movie?
let's go through the movie. So okay,
So this movie opens in a car in the rain. Luke, the only one not laughing. He's the one that fucked it up.
Ooh, yeah, well,
No,
we
that
were
tells you
all-
how strong I am about like my how confident I am in myself. I'm like, nah, man, this disc is just fucked up.
right, we were all just gonna go with it. Yeah, so we started watching this and we saw the jack-o'-lantern, and then
This is when he got up to
yeah,
to
then
the
we fixed
subwoofer.
the subwoofer, and then it just shot to.
Did you say subwoofer?
is,
did.
is that not how you
Subwoofer.
subwoofer?
Like it's a
I like woofer better.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's woofing, guys.
Subwoofer. That is
I'm pretty
spoken by
sure it's
someone
woofing.
who's never actually said those words out loud.
I've only read that word.
So then we see Donald Pleasance and the nurse. Right?
Is Donald Pleasant the Ahab guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the doctor, Dr. Loomis. So
Right.
and they were in the car, and we were all just watching, and I think I was just mesmerized by the awesome screen. And then we were like, wait, is this how the movie starts?
Yeah, and we missed a whole scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like you have no idea why Michael Myers is even in the
I didn't know,
institute.
though. I had no idea. I thought it might have just picked up then.
Well, and then we were watching the new 4K Ultra something.
This is the Pulp Fiction cut of Halloween. That's what's on the,
Right. I was like, did they reshoot it? So maybe the whole thing is a
I
flashback?
thought maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't up convert like that opening
Right.
scene.
Yeah.
And fuck it, I don't know.
Well, because there's 12 minutes that they added into the TV version. So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, maybe this is those
Really?
12 minutes.
They added
Yeah.
12 minutes?
Yeah, they had to
Yeah, to
because
fill
it's
it
not a
2
very
hours.
long movie. So when they cut there's not really that much gore, but back in the early '80s, you couldn't show anything on television.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Like boobs.
Yeah. So anyway, we backed it up and realized we had missed the first whole scene.
Right. So we started
watched,
on a jack-o'-lantern cam.
the 1964. When is?
1978.
Well, that's when the movie came out. And that's when
Yeah.
the events in the movie happened. But the first scene happened in the 60s, right?
60.
Oh.
I guess it'd be
19
63. He's supposed to be 6.
15 years before
Yeah.
78.
Yeah.
So who's
So I don't do
63?
math, but I think it's
Don't
60.
look over here.
63?
In the 60s, yeah.
I have a memory of the bum 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 bum. That
That's
song
H2O.
playing. Oh, is that not in
That's
the
Mr.
original?
Well,
Sandman,
No,
first
I
off.
know. I couldn't
Halloween
think of the name.
2, I think, is where they.
Is that where they
I
start
think,
that
I
at?
think
Is
it's the
it?
opening
Yeah.
credits of Halloween 2.
Okay.
Could
So
use-
either way, so it's
Sad I
the
know
girl and the guy
Yes.
are like making out on the couch, and we're seeing what is killer POV.
Yes.
But it's Michael
of
who's like
view.
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think I meant POV?
Some listeners
Penis
might
on
not know.
vagina? Ooh.
I mean, knowing you,
I
that
honestly
very
thought
well
that's
could
what
have
you
been.
meant, and thought maybe
'Cause
I
he's
watched a
listened
different
to
movie.
At least one
Yeah.
episode.
Guys, I mean, honestly, though, it
Well,
could be
yeah.
POV
Part
penis
of
on
an
vagina
episode.
because they soon go upstairs
That's true.
and have the quickest sex
I don't
ever.
think there was ever a penis on a vagina, though.
No.
Oh
yeah.
no! They were upstairs for like a minute. He got upstairs, got overly excited, blew a load in his pants, and it's like, "Well, I gotta go home."
Yeah.
And he didn't like have easy clothes to get off either. I mean,
No.
he had pants, socks.
Oh
he had
yeah.
every- I mean, he was.
Oh, he.
About
You
5
see,
sweaters.
you see him putting his shirt back on.
Right.
I will put out there that he never took his pants off.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if he did, they've clocked it. It's like
I think it's a minute 8.
a minute and 6 seconds
six,
is what I
sorry.
got. But
What
I
did
mean,
they do it twice? right,
That's pretty
guys?
good, right?
Wait, I go back.
Yes.
They definitely had sex.
Yeah, I
And
retract my last statement.
she enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Okay,
All right,
so yeah, he goes upstairs. His sister is sitting.
But they go upstairs, and then
Yeah.
Michael goes in the back door, which I think he might have been doing upstairs too.
Which was open.
Well, yeah, naturally
Yeah.
it's open. You got
And
to
so we get a
Well,
tour.
every
of
door
this
is open,
house.
right?
Yeah,
every door is open.
I think
yeah.
every door was open in the 70s. You know?
Well, no shit though. Like probably a lot more than they are now. Like everyone locks their doors
Well,
and
you
shit
mean
here.
just-
Yeah,
but, like,
because they've all
unlocked
seen
versus
Halloween,
locked.
and they know what happens when you leave all
Sure,
your doors
but you're
open.
talking unlocked versus locked. Those doors were wide
Yeah,
open,
but from
and
a
you wouldn't
te-
do that from a bug perspective.
From a technical standpoint, though, it was a tracking shot.
Yeah,
which,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so they would have to have the door, and it is an
Right.
amazing
Here you
shot.
go.
It really
bringing
is.
logic
It's
to
really
our-
cool.
I'm not even the tech guy here. I'm like the
I know.
least tech.
Yeah, everybody always talks about that scene in Goodfellas, which is really cool, but this one I think is really awesome.
What scene in
too.
Goodfellas?
When they go into the restaurant and they walk through and they see
That is a
everybody and
badass
the
scene. You're
tracking
right.
shot.
Yeah.
But I like this one better because there's murder in this one. But yeah, so we get a tour of the house, and then this is a really cool part when he finds that. Well, first he finds the
very out of focus knife?
Yeah, the out of
Yeah.
focus knife that is clean though. But then he finds the clown mask and he puts it on, and so then you're seeing out of the eye holes of the mask, which is super cool.
I don't understand the whole mask thing. We're gonna have to talk about that.
It's
like,
a Halloween costume.
I know. I
When you
get
put
that.
a mask on your face, you look
but
like
is okay. So
something else.
I guess my question is he wearing a mask just so he hides his face?
No, it's part of his Halloween costume. Because you see when he reaches to get it, you can see the fluffies on his wrist.
I mean,
Are you talking about adult Michael or child Michael?
Both.
Okay, well, let's talk about child Michael. He's wearing a clown costume.
Yeah, he's been trick or treating that night, I would guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I don't know why the mask. Where did he? Oh, the mask was on the floor. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
he's
it's
picking
just part
up
of his costume.
But like
so, yeah.
adult Michael, who's murdering Jamie Lee Curtis's friends,
Spoilers.
is he wearing a mask to hide his identity and to blend in, or like
I
what?
think he likes to
I
wear
think it's
masks
some
when he kill
psychological
people.
shit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. Anyway, the boy goes down the steps and out the front door.
Yes.
Puts the mask on. No, kills his sister first.
Well, no. I'm talking about the boy who was just having sex with sister.
Oh, yeah.
Puts his shirt back on, goes out the front door, and then Michael walks up the stairs. Let me just ask this, and I'm not mad because those were some great boobs. But like,
Oh, jeez.
would you not, if you were gonna brush your hair post sex, would you not put a shirt on?
No,
Especially
not
well,
necessarily.
and
I mean, I wouldn't either.
and
but-
they know the brother's around somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. She's in charge of the brother. It
Yeah.
depends on how long your hair is. Girls. Girls know what I'm talking about.
I kind of want to know what you're talking about.
Ladies.
Like, I'm
I wish I could have.
curious.
I wish you guys could have seen my face when she said that, because I could just feel it going. And like it got
Because if
quiet
you're
for like
brushing
30
your hair
seconds.
in front,
I see what you're saying. You can Pocahontas,
you
let
might
it down.
bump some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, should you just be?
Can you hear the wind cry through the blue dawn moon? I'm sorry.
I love that.
She
song.
could be
Of course
topless
you
all the
do.
time.
Spoiler
Just
alert:
hair.
Pocahontas. We're watching next.
Yeah. All right. So they go upstairs, or Michael
So he
goes
kills the
upstairs and
sister.
kills his sister.
But yes,
yeah.
if I am in charge of my little brother, I'm not walking around in just my underwear. So yes, so he's right to kill her. you know?
Wait, do you not consider a bra part of underwear?
No, that's a bra.
Okay.
Underwear is your downstairs underwear.
Your downstairs pants? Your downstairs pants?
Pantaloons,
Yeah.
I think that's what
That's
they're
cool.
called.
So your
What is
upstairs
she
pants.
having sex with a pirate?
You're wearing a mask.
Hey,
Yeah, we
Future
have
Tom.
Halloween candy in front
We
of us.
do,
It's amazing.
yeah.
We do.
We're watching Halloween.
This is a theme podcast. I like it.
Yeah, we're on brand.
Okay, so what
then
happens?
it jumps to
So-
them in the car where we originally started the movie before we realized
Well,
we
no,
had
then
skipped a
they
scene.
walk downstairs and Michael just takes
Oh,
his
yeah.
mask off and they all just stand there
Oh,
waiting
yeah,
for
the
somebody to say
parents.
cut and nobody ever says cut, so we just watch
Well, I
them
think that's
standing
supposed to be
there.
like kind of metaphorical, like time stops, like at that
Yeah.
moment.
That's sort of what I got, too.
I guess, but they look like really shitty parents.
They
Which,
do.
mind you, if he's killing his sister, they probably were really shitty parents.
Yeah.
So.
And
True.
honestly, there have been some horror scholars who have said that's a theme in this movie because those are the only parents we see in the entire movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we
Maybe
see
if there
Jamie
were-
Lee Curtis's dad for like 2 seconds at the
Oh,
very-
and
when we
then-
first established her character.
Pervy sheriff dad.
Oh, the
And-
He's a
and-
dad too.
yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis's dad, who's like the worst realtor.
Yeah, he's the
ever.
worst realtor ever. So I guess that's on brand for bad parenting. And the pervy sheriff dad. Okay,
Exactly.
you're not wrong. All right.
I'm always right.
Bob is going to be a bad parent if he would make it to parent.
Yeah.
He would have been
Well, he
terrible.
tried to
I
get
think
someone
he would
pregnant
be
for sure.
a
Yeah.
very bad parent. What we learn about him.
He tried to get like her thigh pregnant though. Did you see that position of how he was like kind of going at her?
Wait, how did
No, we're
how
going,
does
we're
sex
going to
supposed
the.
to work? I think I'm doing it wrong.
I don't know. I think
why
PJ
you're the horror
Soul's thigh
virgin.
was very happy.
Aw.
I don't know. She smoked those cigarettes like she was
That's
satisfied.
true.
Yeah, she lit 2 at once. We'll get there.
She's
we'll
a
get
lady.
Sorry.
there. Because she's a lady.
She's a lady.
Whoa, she's a lady.
Does that have to do with the length of your hair too? How you how many cigarettes you can light at once?
You don't have long bangs if you're lighting 2 at once, guys.
That's right. Yeah, you do have pigtails though. Okay. So then we cut to the car scene, the original beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I saw it, it was the first thing I saw.
The director intended.
The Todd cut. Luke's over here like, you sons of bitches.
We're off the network.
But this is where we learned that he's been in an asylum for 16 years or whatever?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah. And if what you're talking about, like time stops because they said he hasn't had any kind of emotion. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
So we
He's
see
just
him
stared at the
freeze.
wall, which makes you wonder, how does Sam Loomis know so much about him if he hasn't said shit?
Yeah.
Like, where is he
I see
getting
what you're
this
saying.
information from?
Well, he
Loomis
probably
is
got it from,
also kind of crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
he probably got it from the cops who arrested him, and then he said he was staring at the wall and then looked beyond the wall or whatever.
Yeah. And then when they go back to
through
the house,
wall,
he's like, "This is
under the
where
wall.
she died." It's like I'm picturing like he's been role playing this, like
Oh,
back
yeah.
at the
He's
hospital.
got his
Yeah.
red string and he's got a wall
Like Charlie
connects
from It's
everybody.
Sunny. Yeah. I love it. Anyway, they get to the asylum. And
Yeah,
I don't know,
it's raining. It's really, really raining.
is very, very
she
raining.
smokes 2 cigarettes in the car too, but
yeah,
not
she's
at the same time.
sucking them down, and normally I'm into it, but like that one,
What,
if you're
sucking
sucking
things
that down, you're gonna get cancer.
Well, she's really
suck
nervous
other things
because
down.
She's got to go. They're transferring Michael to a judge. I think. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's the law. I don't know. That's what
Yeah,
what he
that's what he
says.
says,
Like,
right. You're
I
right.
wasn't yelling
There
at
is
you.
the law.
Jen was like, "Oh, I'm not yelling at you, Jen."
He's the real victim.
Yeah, because he's saying she's got to like drug him and stuff. So
Yeah,
he
they were
can't.
going to drug him.
But I don't know what that matters if he hasn't said shit for 15 years. I don't know what
Right.
he's going to do
well, I
in
mean,
front
he
of a
still is a
judge.
violent criminal.
It's
It's true.
preventative.
But yeah,
As a 6-year-old. Okay, so then it's raining really, really hard, and then this is, I think, the creepiest part of the movie for me. We see like
the
just-
people just walking.
Yeah, wearing the
I
white
did not like
sheets.
That.
Yeah.
I did not like that.
Yeah, it always kind of messed with me whenever that whole scene where he jumps up on top of the car.
Yeah.
And like kind of like spider hands the glass and it cracks for some
Oh
reason.
yeah, he likes pimp hands. He pimp hands the glass.
Yeah, but that whole sequence, the whole car sequence, used to freak me out whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
Still holds up well.
Well, and
I
also,
think so too.
I mean, I was really young when I saw this for the first time, and that like literally made me like I just assumed that's what hospitals were like, was just crazy
yeah.
people
Oh, yeah.
just walking around outside.
Just wander around in the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
That
don't really
and then-
have asylums now.
It's like
so
you got to go to the doctor, and I'm like, no, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Like that and like the maybe you guys will watch this for Christmas. I bet you will. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yep, we got it on the list.
Actually, it's on the
God.
list.
The
Yeah.
beginning of that. It's like hospitals were just fucked for me whenever I was a kid. Like
know.
there's
Yeah.
no way.
We also have
And grandparents.
Yeah.
Holy
Just adults
shit.
in
Wait till
general,
you
really.
see that opening scene in Silent
haven't
Night,
seen it.
Deadly Night. It is nuts.
I haven't seen it.
I'm out.
No, this isn't a scary thing. This is just an insane thing. It's crazy.
Let me just say this. Normally, when I see just people in the dark walking around on white sheets,
Yeah.
it's for something different.
They didn't have tiki torches in their hand though.
They didn't. So
they're
we're good.
safe.
We're good. We're good.
Toga.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Although
Toga.
it is raining, so
Maybe the
maybe
torches were out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think that was actually the cast of Animal House that just wandered onto the set? Because that was the same year. So
Was
we
it
might have.
really?
Yes, it was. So we might have a theory here.
Oh man.
That was John Belushi and Tim Matheson.
Who are these people? I'm joking.
I haven't seen it.
I was about to
either.
get so. You haven't seen Animal House?
No, it's a comedy.
No, it's a
I
good
don't understand.
I'm usually
you.
with you on most of those. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You don't
I've
like
seen that
comedies
one.
either?
No, I love comedies. I just don't have fucking time to watch them, dude.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I gotta watch.
Yeah,
horror movies.
I don't know how you watch anything that's not horror with your
I
with
don't.
what you do.
Is the
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, so she gets grabbed by the face in the car, and then she goes to the other side, and then we see the hand come down and smash the glass.
Yeah, and then she gets out of the car.
Yeah.
and
Well, do you
he-
know how they smashed the glass? Did you guys hear this?
No.
They taped a wrench to his hand.
Yeah,
and they
supposedly you can see it. I've never been
Yeah.
able to.
I was
but-
trying to find it, but
yeah.
so they taped it and they painted it flesh colored, and so that's how
No
he could
shit.
open-handed smash that.
So
yeah.
he really smashed some glass.
Yeah, that's
think
impressive.
so.
Because
I don't know who that. I don't know if that was Nick Castle, but whoever that was.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah,
I
that's
think
impressive.
a bunch of people were the Shape in filming.
Oh,
so
for sure.
who
Oh
knows
yeah,
who
I
it
think
was.
because I think Deborah Hill was even the Shape at one
she
point.
was the hands that killed
That's right.
Judith Myers.
what are you
That's right.
referring to as the shape?
Oh, okay. Michael Myers is called the Shape in this movie.
Notice how they didn't.
Why?
I mean, they just said Michael and Judith Myers, but like they don't really call him Michael Myers very much.
No, not
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do establish him as Michael,
Sure.
and then he's, he killed his sister.
Yeah.
So like, but they don't use that terminology. I
Michael
guess.
Myers has come home. Like, yeah,
Right,
Yeah, they don't
right.
say any of that stuff.
They say
yeah.
he
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of the time, yeah. But that's what they call him in the screenplay. And they probably hadn't fleshed a lot of that stuff out when they were writing in this, and they just stuck
Sure.
with the Shape. But yeah, like in the end credits, it says the Shape, Nick Castle.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're talking about. Which I think is an awesome name for him because that's basically what he is. He's just a shape that's going to come kill you.
He's
you know?
he's evil with the devil's eyes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyway, he jumps in the car and then drives out of that scene.
Yeah, he somehow learned how to. He like got Trinity.
You were doing
in the
very well last
Matrix.
night.
Yeah.
Sorry,
uploaded the
I'm gonna
program.
quit doing Loomis. I'm terrible at that.
Wasn't that? But that's an interesting one though, because people talk shit about that one on the internet all the time. Like, hey, it's been 20 years. How's he just going to jump in a car and
Yeah.
go? And people talk shit about that. But wasn't that one of the TV scenes that got reshot later? Whenever they're leaving the hospital, and was like, he doesn't even know how to drive a car. And he was doing very fine last night.
I don't. I mean, that scene's. That's the theatrical cut
Is
of
it
the
really?
movie. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, it
remember
was in
it
this
being in the
movie.
original. No, I think I thought the TV stuff was added back into this.
No. TV stuff is just, there's that scene she was talking about where Jamie Lee
With the
Curtis has a
towel?
towel on her head. There's a couple of scenes. There's like one with Loomis in front of the board talking about
I
Michael
remember
Myers.
that. Yeah.
And then there's one after he escapes. This is the sister thing. They go in his room, if I remember correctly. They go in his room at the asylum or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has written sister on the wall.
Gotcha.
Those
That
are
was
that's
the-
all I remember.
The part 2 tie-in.
Little sister. All right.
But in this actual movie, in this theatrical cut, the one we watched, which is what the new movie is
Based
directly
off of. Yeah.
continuing off of, they are not related.
Yeah, but I had not seen this until I had already known that he was her sister. So I always watched this thinking, oh, well, that's her sister.
I think most people do,
Right,
at this
right.
point,
Unless
because
you're-
that's so much in the thing. So it's
Right.
going to be real. I wonder how that's going to play in the new one. So yeah, let's talk
So
about
he
this
bones
movie.
out-
He
in the
grabs the
car.
car and he bones out to Bigsby
We're in the
his
opening
car.
scene.
Right.
Still
Yeah,
where
yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman came out this year too. You want to talk about Superman?
That
Smokey and the
kid's fucking
Bandit.
George Reeves costume. Yeah. Superman in this movie.
Yeah,
as
George
a
Reeves
costume.
throwback. Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so he bones out to Bigsby in the car, and then the next scene
Is Haddonfield on Halloween Day.
right, and this is where we established Jamie Lee Curtis as a high school student, and her dad's the realtor, the shitty realtor.
Who sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing a house that looks like it's been dead for 10 years.
It-
and there's a dead dog or skunk in the
No,
movie.
Inside it.
okay, it's a dead dog. What
the skunk killed
Yeah,
it.
yeah. The
There's
sheriff
bloody skunk
implies that a
prints all
skunk
over the
might have killed the
place.
dog.
The sheriff is real dumb and looks like he's touched children.
I don't even know how. Michael Myers is terrifying, but I don't know how somebody else hasn't gotten into this town before and killed everybody,
Well,
because it's not like the
exactly.
sheriff's going to stop them.
Yeah.
Maybe the sheriff is killing people.
Maybe
in
so.
The town.
He's definitely head of the pedophilia ring. We'll come back to that.
We'll get to it.
There's some shit going down in this town that no one's talking about.
So she's walking down.
Expose. Here on the harbor.
Jason is the second worst person in the town.
He's the real hero.
Yeah, he is.
Jason's not in this movie, but okay.
Oh, shit.
Oh
Michael.
shit, Michael. They're
We'll
the
just call
same.
him the
It doesn't
Shape.
matter. Yeah,
It's just evil.
they're the same to me. They both wear masks. They both kill people.
We just got 1,000
I don't. The mask bothers me a little bit too. I mean, I think what Luke is saying, that it's a psychological thing, sure,
Mm-hmm.
but especially when you get into the later movies, it becomes even more ridiculous that he has a mask.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you're like, where did you even keep it? Where did you get? And like in one of them, he buys one, or steals one. He's like got a credit card.
Yeah,
He steals one from like some store, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, why would Haddonfield still have a fucking Michael Myers mask available
Right.
to sell? Let's
I
have a
think
mask that reminds us of this guy that killed everybody.
Right. Well, Screamtown does it.
The truth.
They
Scream
sell-
Town.
Ghostface Killer.
Sorry, Woodsboro.
No, I like Screamtown
I
better.
know.
Screamtown's the best.
I now wish that movie was called Screamtown.
Yeah.
Screamtown.
I might have liked it a little bit more.
Were you a Halloween Town fan back in the day? Are you getting your stuff mixed up?
She's walking to school, right? So
She's walking to school, and then she sees kid Tommy.
Tommy Doyle,
Tommy Doyle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the kid she's gonna be babysitting, and he runs over and is like, "Hey, you can babysit me."
who grows up to be Paul
Yeah.
Rudd, oddly enough.
Wait, what?
What?
No, that
I was like, that was
no.
fucking Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd plays a character in another movie.
Oh, Tommy
God.
Doyle.
I'm just yeah.
I
Sorry.
just liked
God.
this movie way
You
better
just
for
blew
30
my
seconds.
mind and unblew it in 3 seconds. That was amazing. I've never heard someone unblow my mind. Is that possible?
So she's got to drop off something to this the creepy
The house.
Myers
His house, yeah.
And so
The
that's
key.
when the keys.
Yeah.
That's how the skunk gets in to kill the dog. She lived-
He had the keys.
And what happened to these people? Like these people that were supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. Michael's already in the house.
Here's what happens: they either got murdered in the house, or they walked up, took one
Oh,
look
yeah,
at this
that's
creepy
probably what
as
it was.
fuck
They didn't
house, and
get
they
out there-
peeled
no,
out.
This house looks like it did when 15 years ago when Michael killed his sister.
Right.
But they haven't done anything to keep it clean, so it looks weathered and gross as shit.
Yeah.
So they drove up and were like, "Fuck this curb appeal, we're out."
Right, definitely
Yeah,
haunted.
that door was not red.
Yeah.
The shutters were off.
The gutter
Yeah,
was
no.
hanging down.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a murderer inside.
Jamie
staring
Lee
out the
Curtis's
window
dad was
at
like,
him.
"Listen, It's a real fixer-upper. No one's lived there for 50 years.
Well, he wasn't even going to be there. He was having his daughter put the keys under the mat.
Because he was too scared to go.
That is
Yeah.
one job. Jamie's dad.
And
There's just
that's
a corpse like skeleton upstairs.
This must be a town where there's no competition because
Right.
that's the only
yeah.
thing that explains all this shit that's going
my
down.
God.
No one else runs for sheriff. There's not enough. I mean,
Right.
if you could just come in and have like a reasonable realtor company that
Yeah.
actually, put a window in or something, you would make bank. You would have taken over that town.
HGTV would
Yeah.
tear it up. That
Oh,
would
yeah.
be their Halloween episode.
Flip-flop in Haddonfield would be an amazing.
Yeah, I want to see the Halloween with the property brothers getting their
my
asses
God.
killed.
We should make that movie.
100%. I'm gonna pitch a
Okay,
a sketch to you
right
guys.
after Astronaut Cop.
Astro Cop.
I think that is the one we should
Yeah.
settle on.
Yeah.
All right, so she drops the keys off.
She
and
drops the keys
this,
off.
This scene
And they
where
talk
he
about
steps
the
into frame,
boogeyman.
the scene where he steps into frame, we're looking from inside the house through the screen door. We see Jamie Lee Curtis and,
Yes.
and the kid out there, and Michael steps into frame. That made me jump.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, did I say anything, or was I just
No,
flinching?
you
just
were
jumped.
sitting by me. You just kind of jumped every now and then.
Yeah, it was-
Yeah. Anytime there was any kind of loud
You grabbed my
noise.
leg. That was weird.
I was aiming higher.
Like I just
I missed.
like we just met, but okay.
I like how you're on board for it. Like, you're like hashtag him
We're
too.
watching
Well, I
Halloween,
mean, it would take a lot to. I mean, I don't want to have to get up off the couch. And sometimes you just go with it.
It'd be
Yeah.
over in less than a minute.
Well, I think it's cool that you establish immediately when you meet the girls, like stereotypes are created right there.
Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
get
And
kinda
holy
the
shit,
slutty
these
one, the
notes.
bratty one,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the good girl one. Like they're all
Yeah.
they're all-
Yes.
the gang's all there.
Yeah. They don't really have
Which in
many
that
personalities.
had not really been established yet, or is that what you're saying? I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm saying. Like,
Okay, yeah,
this
yeah.
is kind of like this sets the trends for
It
that.
Yeah, I
does.
mean-
Oh,
yeah.
this movie does?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I
I mean,
didn't know
you had Black Christmas.
You have Black Christmas.
which kind of sets. I mean, and this was actually wasn't this supposed to be a sequel at one point?
Yeah. So who's the guy that did Black Christmas? I forget. his
Bob
name.
Clark.
Yes,
Bob Clark.
yes.
So I guess the story goes like they were at dinner one night, him and Carpenter, and he was like, "Hey, you ever gonna do another horror movie?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it." He's like, "But if I were to make a sequel to Black Christmas, it would be on Halloween and follow a group of babysitters."
Yes.
So like
Okay.
rumor has it the Carpenter was like, "That shit sounds dope,"
Yeah.
and then went and wrote like Halloween basically.
Right.
There's enough difference in this that I think he's moralistically in the clear.
Oh, for
I
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
Because
As
Well,
someone
that's
who's
not-
never seen
And
Black
I was going to
Christmas.
say, I think even in
That's
Black,
fair,
I think
yeah.
even in Black Christmas, there's not a whole lot of distinction between. They don't really have like the character types,
Right.
like they
It's
do.
just-
No,
in
they
this.
don't. And the
Yeah.
characters are a lot more fleshed out, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is more a cut and dry version of that story. And there's a lot of conversation about what the first slasher actually is. And I don't think it matters that much.
No.
Like in Men, Women, and Chainsaw,
Everyone take a drink.
she actually talks about Texas Chainsaw Massacre as Sally being the first final girl. And that's kind of what she's basing her prototype.
When was that
theory
movie?
on.
I'm sorry,
I just
know.
don't see that movie as a
74.
slasher film.
I don't
though.
either.
I don't either.
It's got all of the, like, if you look at her formula, it's got
Yeah.
everything on the list, but it just doesn't feel like a slasher to me.
And Halloween now, most people even say it's a proto slasher.
Barely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
most people say that like Friday the 13th, 1980 was kind of when
Yeah.
you first had your slasher films.
Halloween
Yes.
2 was kind of a slasher. Like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really this one though.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like Psycho's not really a slasher, but Psycho 2 is very much a slasher. Like it's a flat out slasher.
Yeah,
so.
but some people say that Psycho was
Yeah.
and Peeping Tom, and that's because of the point of view
And
shot.
there's even a movie from the 1930s. It's called like 13 Women or something like
oh
that.
yeah, I know.
And it was
on.
on Turner
Nice.
Classic a couple years ago, and I didn't get through it, but I tried to watch it. But it was interesting. It was like an all-girl school or something, and they were getting killed one by one, and there
Yeah.
was a mysterious mass killer. So it was very much in the same vein as what these are like.
Well, and one of the things I think Halloween is looked at is that it was the first time that all of those things were really put together, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think of it as the first slasher, but I don't think it really matters which one was the exact
No.
first. Oh, yeah. So Lori's at school and
Oh, yeah,
looking out,
and-
and we see Michael staring at her through the window.
Through the
Yeah.
window, yeah, and she's
Yeah.
looking out, not paying attention to class, and the teacher calls on her, all that shit.
The
And then she
weirdest
looks back
teacher
and he's
voice ever,
gone.
too. Like, I think that teacher voice was recorded in a
Whenever
studio
I,
and
he-
dropped
I,
in.
I see
Charlie
a scene
Brown.
like that,
Yeah. Wah, 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 wah,
Whenever I
wah.
see a scene like that, I think of Ben Stein from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So in my mind, thinking back on it now, it's Ben Stein. Like,
No, I think that's fair.
Bueller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
But I mean, the teacher doesn't
costume.
matter in this scene. The scene is just to set up that he is starting to follow her all
And you wonder
around
why
town.
she doesn't say something. There's a lot
Yeah.
of parts in this movie where I'm like, man, if somebody had just been looking that direction, or
Right.
had just said, hey, maybe I'll call the cops and be like, hey, there's this weird guy
Or, yeah.
roaming around
Staring.
town
I mean, during
in a
that-
hospital car.
with a mask on.
got a big knife in his
Yeah.
hand, stalking babysitters.
He's
and
very
kids.
It's cool. The door says
menacing.
official use only.
Oh, that's
He's doing
right. So
official
they
shit in
probably
there.
think
Yeah.
that was before people started.
Oh,
using that.
those people that are 150 miles away. Where was it? Smith's Grove? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
where? Yeah,
Yeah.
those Smith's Grove people. That's how they were on.
Seriously though, so like when this movie came out, a lot of those things were just happening all the time, but people didn't know about them as much. You know, like we were talking about the doors being open all the time. Like how many stories have I read where it starts with "This is a town where nobody locked their doors at night"?
Sure,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like that's just kind of part of the
But
time
we didn't
period.
grow up in that
too.
time period. Like,
We
I don't know what that
didn't.
was like.
We
Like,
grew
that's-
up in the time period where everybody had seen this movie, so they locked all their fucking doors.
I'm a little older. When I was like really young, I feel like I don't know that we left our doors unlocked that often. But I will say this: when I was a kid, we had the theme park here, Opryland.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
And,
love that place.
I mean, when I was a kid, like our parents would just drop like five of us
yeah.
off at the
yeah.
gate.
Yeah.
That was our middle school
And
thing.
then,
Yeah, I
and
would
then
do
we'd,
that.
we'd be there all day just
Yeah.
by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That would
just
never
riding those
happen
teacups
today.
over and over again.
If you
yeah.
told me I had to drop my daughter off at a theme park by herself all
Yep.
day, I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Yo,
Never.
the Screaming Delta Demon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
still one of my all-time favorite
It
rides.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
River
it's
Grizzly
unique. It was like a
Rampage.
bobsled.
Yeah. It jumps from Jamie Lee Curtis looking out the window to see Michael there to Dr. Loomis and the other doctor kind of talking. or
Mustache
whatever.
doctor.
I was so pissed that he was parked in a handicap spot and you guys didn't even notice it.
No, that
No,
was
we
the
didn't.
first time I've ever noticed that.
Me
That was
too.
very
And how
Yeah.
many times have you guys seen this movie?
A lot.
I notice weird shit, I guess, because like that's the
Right.
first thing I see. The second he gets in, I was like, that motherfucker's not even handicapped.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, what?
I mean, I definitely notice more of that stuff now doing Cinema Sins because
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff we're looking
Yeah.
for. So,
Well, see,
But he's Dr.
I should
fucking
be-
Loomis. He can park wherever he wants.
well, I'm just gonna
man.
start sending all that shit to you since you have an in with them. I'll just be like,
Right.
here, like,
yeah, that'll work.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you wrote all these fucking notes in the dark.
Oh yeah, that's why
She's
you
got
can't
like a
read half
book
of
over
them.
here.
Look,
Yeah.
and she started this book when we started the podcast. We're 21 episodes in.
Oh my god,
And she's on
that's
page
unbelievable.
154. She's literally 154 pages in, and she's gonna have to get a new notebook. And I can
know.
tell you where you're gonna buy that.
Where
new
am I
notebook.
gonna buy it, Todd?
The merch on T Public. Yeah, I gotta
Not
add
tea
that.
like the drink.
No, TEE. Public.
Tea like
Do you
when
have horror virgin notebooks?
Yeah,
We
we
do
have
have
notebooks,
horror
coffee
virgin.
mugs, T-shirts, pillows. It's ridiculous.
And we have a Final Girl logo too, which I actually just took a sip of coffee from my Final Girl travel mug, and it has Laurie's name on it.
It does.
Yeah, from Halloween.
Yep.
It's awesome. Check it out.
You know, there's another podcast in your network called Final Girl.
I
I'm just
do,
saying,
yeah.
so you know.
Girls, yeah.
Yeah, so you know.
Final Girls.
Love
They've got
them.
some merch too.
They do have merch.
Yeah.
That is true. They sent me stickers one time. It was very nice of
they?
me. Yes.
We
Can we talk about this fucking movie?
Where are we? So he drives out of the handicap
Second scene.
spot.
Yeah, so he's talking to the other doctor. What are they? So what are they talking about in that scene where both the doctors are talking?
They're talking about the 2 roadblocks and like how could you let him go and
Well, and how did
he's-
Roblox not stop him? Because I mean, how good of a driver could he have been? So,
Right.
like,
Well,
and
and-
even if you're a really good driver, how you getting past a roadblock?
I mean,
Yeah.
if, I
Take
guess if
another
it-
road.
Yeah, or
Oh, I
drive
guess.
around.
And I mean, the cops. I mean, maybe the Smiths Grove cops were just like the
You
Haddonfield
just
cops.
use Waze.
Well, he's in one of our cars.
Yeah.
Figured he's doing official business.
Yeah,
Let him
Right.
through.
he got
Exactly.
waved through. He got waved through.
It's like it says official.
I know the
yeah,
car.
yeah, well, he
literally
didn't talk.
says-
They were just like, "So, are you here on official business?" And he just looked at him, and they're like,
He
"Okay."
he just points down at the insignia that says official business only. Says nothing. They're like, this guy's legit. Let him
Well, and
through.
he wouldn't had his mask yet either, so I
Right,
mean,
right.
he maybe
yeah, he
looked
just looks like a
little more
20-something-year-old guy.
Yeah,
In a gown.
Yeah.
that's right.
Hey, this transvestite needs to get to wherever he's going. He's very business. He's very. This is straight up legitness.
Doesn't look like that escaped mental patient we're looking
And
for
no
at
judgment
all.
on the transvestite
Yeah,
thing.
no. Yeah, I was gonna
I'm not
say,
saying.
he's got to
Why
go
is
to
he-
Connections. Like,
Yeah.
huge callback. That doesn't exist anymore,
He's
does
going
it?
to Frank
I don't
and
think
Furter's
so.
I
house.
don't think it does.
Tribe maybe. Laurie in school.
No, wait, this is-
the
is this
kid
what we-
gets bullied carrying his pumpkin,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
So
they
the
push
kid's
him
walking
over.
out of elementary school with the pumpkin. He gets pushed over, and the kids are like, "The boogeyman's gonna get you. He's gonna get you.
Right.
He's gonna get you. He's gonna get
And
you.
then
He's
that
gonna get you.
kid
He's gonna
run-
get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you." Why do they say it 90 times?
Man, you really are paying attention, though. I'll give you credit for that.
Yeah,
'cause you are-
I fucking hate these movies, but the reason I hate them so much is because they stick with me. Like, I'll be thinking about this movie tonight when I'm trying to sleep. It's gonna be the
You'll,
worst.
you'll be like, you'll like wake up and think in your head like the old Girl Scout comes
I
through
swear to
again.
God.
You're like gonna get all your knitting needles and just put them right on your bedstand.
all the knitting needles.
So then the bullies run away and bump right into Michael.
One
and
of them
then
bumps into Michael.
Like kills him in the woods.
No,
Oh,
Michael
wait.
doesn't kill him in the woods.
That's
Michael
Rob
lets him
Zombie.
go. He's probably like, this kid's gonna be a new me in the future.
Right, I'll let him go. The kid becomes his protege for the rest of the movie.
You see like Michael and then
standing
little
in the
Michael
other
with a mask.
That is a weird scene though, because okay, fine, he saw Lori in the
it.
morning, and I guess he did see the kid, but I don't know. I don't know how he got from Lori to the kid,
Or why he tracked Lori. Like, what is it about Lori that makes him want to follow
Well,
her?
she was just the first person that he saw
Because
since
they
he
came up
home.
to the house.
So it's like a guy who gets out of prison. Like the first thing with legs and a vagina he sees, he's going to try and sleep with.
Is that
He's-
what it
or in this
Yeah.
case, kill.
Well, yeah, because he's not looking to have sex. He's looking to
what was he
murder.
in
So it's like
prison
the
for?
first chick with a vagina he sees.
That's
chick
the
with a
one.
vagina.
Well, and I mean, and yeah, we'll say,
That's
I mean,
fair.
even though they eventually do the whole brother sister thing in this movie, he doesn't just focus on Lori, because when they get to
No,
the
you're right.
babysitting, he actually puts his attention on Annie for quite
Yeah.
a while.
Right.
He just doesn't want Lori to get away.
Yeah.
And it's more like house centric when he's killing people. It's like when they come
Yeah,
to
for
the
sure.
house, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's very asexual in this movie. And that's actually one of the slasher tropes is the killer. There's really no rape. There's no assault or anything
No,
like
he's
that.
also very crafty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is very crafty.
And he
plans.
found he somehow carried around a tombstone.
He
all
did,
day.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was insane.
So that's another thing. It's like you're looking for a clearly marked car
Yeah.
that has a tombstone in the backseat.
Yeah, you're looking for a government vehicle that
You
says for
are
official
the
business
worst
only.
fucking
Peeling away
police
from
force.
the handy store with like the ladder and the rope and the mask.
Oh,
like,
and then the
trailing
hardware
out.
store, that's another thing that's insane because
You know exactly what he's wearing now.
yeah,
Exactly.
you know what he's wearing, and that alarm was still going off. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and he had already been stalking them in the
He
mask.
just left
So
that
yeah,
place.
that alarm been going
So
off
did-
all day, and they're just now like, hey, I think somebody broke into the hardware store.
Right. And why was the hardware store closed in the middle of the day for
Yeah, I
him to
don't know.
break into from
It's
the
so
beginning?
confusing.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So really, I mean, Haddonfield deserved to get murdered, is what
It
we're saying,
really
because
did.
these are
This
some
town is dumb.
dumb people.
They were
Yeah, but
asking for it,
the
man. What
hardware
was
scene-
Haddonfield wearing?
The hardware scene is more funny now because that alarm had been going off. He just broke in there, and
yes.
he drives by them.
Yeah.
So like,
What you don't know is that all those cops are also just smoking weed at the hardware store. So they see her daughter roll up. They're like, shit, hit the alarm, hit the alarm.
They just
the
want her to
break-in
get the
was
good one.
staged just so the cops could dick around
He
and do nothing all day.
and he says he stole rope, but we never
Yeah.
see the
We
rope.
never see the-
so,
well-
so it's like, do you think he just stole some extra stuff in case he wanted to
He's
use
trying
it
to throw
later?
him off the scent.
Tied to
Well,
his
honestly,
boat.
if I learned anything from Leslie Vernon, it's that you've always got to be prepared for
That's
like
true.
unexpected things.
Yeah.
And he was just being prepared. He got multiple knives.
Oh, okay. So Loomis is at a phone booth just by a bush somewhere off the
He's
interstate.
at a phone booth on the side of the interstate.
Yeah.
What
That's
the?
why I said by a bush, by the interstate.
Welcome to the conversation, me.
Todd, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just happens to look over and see this Bella's truck from Twilight that's gone off the road, and then walks over and sees like the flapping in the breeze
Yeah,
nightgown.
someone was murdered there. I'm assuming Michael murdered him, but
Yeah,
why?
and I
Right.
guess that's where Michael got his clothes.
He got his
too.
clothes
He didn't
there,
see the
that's right.
body though, so basically he's just
He
calling
did.
Haddonfield PD.
Right.
He's like, "Yo, he's on his way."
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know he's on his way.
Yeah.
But did Michael just kill him for his clothes? Because he didn't
I
need
think
a
so.
tow or anything. It was a tow truck.
Yeah,
But,
but
it
yeah, he
didn't
didn't take
say
the truck.
official police business on the side of the tow truck, so he didn't want to take it with him.
Did it?
No, it didn't. That's why. That's why
Oh,
he
it
stuck with the
didn't say that.
official
God, I'm
station
not listening
wagon.
to you at all today.
No, I know.
Just like normal. So
No, he
Yeah.
just ran this. He just like, oh, that guy looks like he might have good clothes, so I'll
Yeah.
run him off the road.
He
and,
scanned him like the Terminator
yeah.
to see what his size and weight were, and then he stole that jumpsuit. Do you think that's where he got the mask?
No.
He got the mask at the hardware store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But
because
that would be
hardware stores
cool
sell masks
If he just ran across some.
in the 1970s.
Yeah, so he sees the matchbook to know that Michael's been there. Does not see the body that's still in the bushes to know that Michael's been there. So that body's probably still there.
Yeah,
I used to
I
think
was just
that.
thinking that somebody listening to this is gonna not really, it's gonna like not have paid attention for a second, and they'd be
Mm.
like, oh, wait, are they trying to say this
Yeah.
is real?
Right.
they really
Like
killed a dog in this
Carpenter
movie,
was
guys. They
killing
really
these
killed that
people.
dog.
The skunk man.
No,
I
yeah,
love that
the
skunk.
rabid skunk.
I need a meme of like bloody skunk prints all over that house next to a slaughtered dog. Put it on a condom and we're sitting on a gold mine.
That's another thing I've never thought
That's all
about
public
until
domain.
this viewing.
Yeah.
I never thought about him saying that about the skunk until this viewing, though. Because I'm like, wait a second. Does he
Yeah.
think a skunk killed that fucking dog?
He does. He's real dumb.
Dude, Pepe Le Pew,
Yeah.
maybe he was like seducing that.
I mean, I don't know why Dr. Loomis didn't catch that. He should have been like, hold on a sec.
He was
Loomis
too
just gives him the
upset.
Did
stink
you say
face.
a
like,
skunk?
Wait,
What?
did you say the stink face?
The stink face.
Ah,
Yeah.
Loomis is the skunk
Get
the whole
your ass
time.
I see
away
what you
from
did
there.
Then the girls are walking home, and this scene just makes me
This is like one of the iconic scenes of the movie.
It is, and I kind of wish it wasn't. Because
And there are a lot of like low grade slasher films around that time that absolutely copied the scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one.
What scene are we talking about?
the girls walking home from school.
There's like a lot of movies
yeah.
around this time, a lot of slasher films around this time, where there's literally a scene with girls walking home from
Yeah.
high school
Yes.
having a very similar conversation.
Yeah.
Now, and I love the
very
look
weird.
of this scene because it is very Halloween atmosphere, fall.
It's real
you know?
gray out.
Despite the fact that it was shot in March and those leaves are like paper leaves that they painted.
Yeah,
Really?
actually,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because they didn't have, because it was
Dedication.
spring.
Yeah.
and they had to move them.
And
They
budget.
were so expensive, or they just didn't have a lot of money. They had to move the leaves from yard to yard
Yeah,
as
so
they
they just
shot.
rake 'em up.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But yeah, so
That's
they're
insane.
walking home and they're talking about like, oh, I left my books. Well, who needs books? I've never needed a book ever
Oh,
because
your
I'm
husband.
just a girl.
It's a very natural
Exactly.
I don't know. See,
conversation.
for me, I kind of identify with that conversation because
Really?
I don't see that
But-
as being like a girl thing. Like whenever I was in high school, I didn't take any fucking books home either. I didn't care about that stuff.
Did you
So-
know
Oh,
that?
yeah.
So I don't see that as being like
I did my
hey,
homework during Channel
I'm
1.
just a dumb girl. I was
Oh.
like, hey, like she just doesn't give a fuck about academics.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe I'm a nerd.
I'm a co-sign on that.
Yeah. And
Definitely
you're like, you didn't
a-
bring home your books. How are you going to do all your homework?
You mean you weren't paying attention to the amazing broadcasting on Channel 1?
No.
You were doing
I would frantically do my homework during Channel 1. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't start our day with Channel 1 because I went to a smart school where I always took my books home. I had to have a rolly backpack because I had so many books that I was taking home. Yeah, so they're talking about their cheers, and we get
Yeah.
kind of a personality. We realize that Laurie doesn't ever date anybody, and that both those other
No,
girls
she's too
are-
busy babysitting.
She is too busy
Yeah.
babysitting and is too afraid to date anyone. So, and this is setting up the
well, in this town, it's kind of understandable after we meet some of the men.
Yeah.
right,
Except
right.
Ben Tramer.
That's
Ooh,
right.
we
that's
never-
Ben
we never meet him,
Tramer.
though.
Yeah, he
We
is
only
the
hear his
luckiest person in this movie. No, it's Annie's boyfriend who doesn't come over to the house, and that's how he does not get killed. But yeah, so we're
Paul.
setting up the tropes of the girls, and we're setting up that she's virginal.
Laurie is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Laurie
right?
is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
Yeah, she is virginal. She doesn't put out, and the two other
Jamie
girls.
Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. And so the other two girls do date lots of guys, and they're trying.
And
to
one of them is PJ
Souls, who's Red
Souls,
Hat.
right? Red Hat from Carrie. And who's the
Yeah.
other girl?
That is.
She's on Real Housewives, you were saying, right?
No.
No.
That's the that's the little girl.
Oh,
That's
my
the
bad.
other one that Bob was going to rip.
My bad.
Yeah, no, that
Oh,
is
yeah.
the actress's name is Nancy Loomis or Nancy Keys,
Yes.
depending on which movie you watch. She did a few other Carpenter movies, and she was
Okay.
in Halloween 3, actually.
Really?
Because that's the one that doesn't have Myers, so she
Yeah.
got to play a different character.
She came
But
back.
she's in The Fog. I don't know if she's done much else.
And they're talking about their babysitting, and they clearly don't take babysitting very seriously at all, because basically babysitting for Red Hat and Annie is just setting up a place to have sex with their boyfriends while they dump their kids on Laurie.
Yeah.
Presumably they give Laurie a cut of the wages they
I don't
make
think
from their
they do.
babysitting, but I don't think they do either.
I don't think
and
they
I
do.
think Laurie just
think
takes
so.
it, man. She,
Well, I mean, in all fairness, the other two girls are just taking it too.
well, that's true.
Nailed it. So they go home. Well, it's PJ Souls gets home first.
Yeah.
And then it's just Curly Head and Jamie Lee Curtis that are walking, and that's when she sees Michael.
yeah.
Like right after, or no, it's right before.
It's right before they go investigate in the bushes. Yeah, he's just standing in the bushes, and they're walking towards where
It's
he's
like a tall
standing.
hedge or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis sees him, and he goes back, and then he's gone.
Yes.
And you see
Yeah.
John Carpenter smoking.
We do, yeah. Yeah, so then Jamie Lee Curtis is just chilling out in her room next to her big globe. She's talking on the phone to Annie. It's
Yeah,
kind of...
you guys are really interested in this globe.
Dude, I've never seen a globe that big in a bedroom.
People had globes back then, man. I had a globe.
Did they? Did you have a globe?
Not that big, but I
I
had
mean,
a
that was
globe.
a big globe. And she's got a hat on the wall, too.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, it was a very 70s bedroom.
It's very strange.
And teeny tiny bed with
Whatever.
a quilt
So
on it.
she looks out the window, and Michael Myers is
Yeah,
feverishly
another
masturbating in the.
chance for her to call the cops
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
like, God damn it, there's this
Well,
dude.
but that time, it almost makes it seem like it might be in her imagination.
Yeah.
Like it's just gone.
I know.
real
Yeah,
fast.
yeah,
yeah,
you're,
'cause she's
you're probably
crazy.
right.
She hasn't had sex yet, so she sees visions.
I don't know. It's like every time you see him,
Ladies,
it seems like
I'm
he should be
kidding.
feverishly masturbating. Like that's really what is going
Oh
on.
my God, yeah. Todd said feverishly masturbating like 5 times.
And
in
I
this movie.
did.
I don't know what you did when you went to the bathroom. But yeah, okay, so my favorite of the times that you see him just staring at her is when he's standing in the clothesline. Because
Yeah.
I love how they're blowing against him. And then
Yeah.
she just looks away and
great
he's
scene.
gone. You
Yeah.
know?
Carpenter, this film is very well shot. Whether
It
or
is.
not it works for you is a whole other thing.
It got
Right.
me.
Like, I feel like the tone he's going for, he effectively achieves it.
Yes,
you know?
Correct.
he nails it.
Yeah.
I think as much as this did for horror, I think this did a lot for independent cinema as well. This
Oh,
was
probably, yeah.
because at the time this was the most profitable independent film ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that when
And
we
it-
talk about box office. It's
Yeah,
Until Blair
sorry.
Witch.
yeah,
Sorry
no,
to give that
no,
away.
it's fine. Yeah, No, it's fine. But
That's
yeah.
always kind of been my favorite thing about this movie. Like
Really?
that's just as far as where it stands in the history.
I'm sure it was
of
John
film.
Carpenter's favorite thing about this movie too.
You're right. All
I'm
the money
sure.
he made. Well, because he took 10% of the rights instead of taking a fee to shoot it too.
Oh, no
So,
shit.
yeah, it worked out in his favor.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where no, it's Curly Head that calls Jamie Lee
make-
Curtis.
yeah.
and the first time she's like, no one's on the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So she hangs up
She
and
thinks
calls
it's
right back,
an
and then
obscene
it's
call.
Curly Head, and Curly
Yeah.
Head's like, hey, we're gonna do whatever. I'll be there to pick you up at 6 or whatever, and she
Yeah.
comes over and they
And they pick him up and then
Yeah.
smoke a bunch of weed in the car.
right, and this is that's where you see the warehouse scene that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty cool thing too. I mean, you have because I mean that is kind of the whole thing with Final Girls. They don't do anything, but I mean, Lori. I mean, she at least was doing some drugs.
She does
Yeah, she
smoke
got
the
high,
weed.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
had the pot. In
Now
the
it's
car.
not
Took the
her
pot.
pot.
She took the pot.
But yeah, and it does appear that she inhaled.
She needed it because that Tommy Doyle kid. God damn it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Astro Cop.
He's kind of charming in that astronaut suit.
That
without the
Astro Cop
helmet.
is annoying as
You think his
shit.
helmet's just like a football helmet with some saran wrap, like, stripped for
hope
like
so.
tinfoil?
Oh my god,
It's gonna be in the movie, by God.
It is, yeah.
I wonder if Astro Cop's gonna be in the new one next week.
Astro Cop.
we'll
Yeah, he's
see.
all grown up now.
Yeah.
He actually went to the moon.
But he actually is an Astro
He's
Cop
like
now.
45.
Yeah, it's
From
called
the
First
producers
Man.
of Screamtown.
Scream Town.
yeah, he just got back from his last mission when it started.
Mission to Scream Town. Woo.
He's like, "Hey, Lori, just got back from space. What's
right,
up?"
and he went 4 miles an hour, which is why it took him so long.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so then we realized that
It's gonna actually tie into First Man. Nobody knows that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we cut to Loomis in the cemetery that the lawn hasn't been mowed in like 20 years.
Oh yeah,
And
this is
then-
where we discovered that he stole the headstone and the body. It looks like he dug up the body.
I don't
right?
think
I
so,
think
no.
it's just the headstone.
Just
Oh,
the
okay,
headstone.
okay.
Yeah, tiny ass body.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
no,
He dug the
that
hole up,
hole.
though.
That's from the headstone.
Yeah. You're right. It
Do you
was
know
too
how
small to be the whole.
cemeteries work, Todd?
I mean, I've buried some people in some.
Oh, have you?
Damn.
Yeah.
Undercover of
My dad and
darkness?
brother.
Oh.
Personally?
Well, I didn't do it personally.
Oh, wow.
Although I did want to dig the grave like they did for Dobby.
Oh, here lies a free elf.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Harry Potter?
Just put
Yeah.
some socks
They
on
won't
it.
let you.
Used socks.
They won't let you dig someone's grave.
Like you can't dig it personally?
Yeah, they won't let
Yeah,
you.
it's
Maybe not
probably
if
a
you go through the official
liability thing.
channels.
Oh my god.
I mean, technically, you can dig a grave whatever you want.
right.
Technically,
Just
I
don't
don't
get
think the
caught.
digging of the grave is
yeah.
what's illegal.
You're just digging a hole. It's when you kill the person to put him in there that it becomes
That's
a grave.
when the problem
Yeah.
arises. Yeah. Yeah,
The
and so
cops
we
care
hear
very little about digging of holes. They care about when the hole becomes a grave.
he just fell in a puddle, officer.
These fucking cops wouldn't give a shit, though.
No.
You could have buried all the bodies you wanted to in
These cops would have
Haddonfield.
been like, quick, go back to the hardware store and
Well,
pull the alarm.
Well, we can get into that when we get
We'll get
later
him off
into the
the
movie.
track. Yeah.
And by
Okay.
cops, you mean cop.
Well, that's what I'm
Cop,
saying.
yeah.
I always thought that was
Yeah.
weird. Like he made such a big deal about like I can't afford to have any cops with you. I mean, we got too much
Right.
going on. Like,
I
what the
gotta-
fuck do you have going on?
Yeah.
I'm on the case of this hardware
Are you
store
still
break.
working the hardware store?
and the skunk murders that's been
Yeah.
going around.
There's a skunk, man. It's killing
rabid
all
skunk
our
on the
animals.
These skunk canine murders are getting real bad.
And then the caretaker is telling a super interesting story about a guy who got like a hacksaw and then went into his bedroom and like kissed his family goodbye. And then
I'm never gonna know the end of that story, and I'm livid
I think
about
that's kind
it.
of brilliant, though. Like I have always liked that bit. I think I kind of enjoy that kind of writing.
I never really noticed it, but like whenever I heard it, I was like, man, someone, i.e., us, should
Make
make
that
like a short
movie.
film
Yeah.
of like
Yes.
that guy's story.
and then
I
that
get to be
guy's the one that
Astrocop.
gets away and he saw the whole thing. You get to be Astrocop.
Spoiler: he saves the day.
He does. Yeah. But then no one will believe
Just see me in the
him.
background, like-
I don't care.
With the fucking NASA patch and like a gun in my pocket. So they leave the graveyard
They know.
because
No, I'm just glad I'm here to see it.
Really should have been there.
so they leave. Yeah, that's what every
guys,
podcast wants to feel like.
Hey, demand live shows and we will bring you all of this.
Yeah.
I'm doing dances like through the whole thing. It's awesome.
It's not awesome, but they are happening.
And I'm gonna force my way on the stage with them. They're not gonna have a say in it.
Honestly, if you guys could
Like,
just
oh,
see how
shit.
much Jen flicks me off
Jonathan.
during every
That's true.
episode,
I'm on my best
it is
behavior today.
astounding.
It is, yeah.
I've already been flicked off
It's
twice,
just
and
a
this is your
natural
best
reaction.
behavior.
Sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it. Yeah.
Oh, my
I think
God.
I got mad at Clint one time and flicked you off.
It's the patriarchy.
Man.
Everyone take a drink.
Patriarchy.
Have we set up the bingo yet, or is that in a future episode?
No, we need. No, I don't think we've set
shit.
up our bingo card. Yeah,
All
we're
right,
gonna have
whatever.
a bingo card of every time I say Stephen King or Men, Women, and Chainsaws.
Or I mentioned boobs. Well, they leave the graveyard.
Yeah. Oh, and that's when we find out about the terrible skunk murders because they go to the Myers house.
Well, the cop and I
Maybe
forget
the-
his name. What's his name?
Loomis.
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 Thank you.
Sam Loomis.
So Sam Loomis and the cop go to the house, the Michael
Yeah.
Myers house, and Michael Myers is not
Maybe.
there because he's out stalking
Because at this point, the sheriff still doesn't believe him.
Right, exactly.
You got a
Honestly,
dug
the
up
sheriff
grave,
doesn't
you got
believe
a
him
dead
until-
dog, but
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say this
high.
guy's here?
Did we talk about?
Sheriff's
Oh,
high.
yeah. He stole a little of his daughter's stash.
Yeah. I learned it from watching you, Dad.
Maybe the couple that was going to visit the Myers house to try to buy it, maybe they're the ones that murdered the dog in the living room. Is anyone looking out for that? No.
That makes more sense than a skunk.
It does. It's not quite as entertaining. Maybe they brought their pet skunk with them.
Maybe.
Pet skunk became
Actually,
self-aware.
skunks can be good pets
killed
if you
the
remove
dog.
their smell sacs.
And there is that great scene
Yeah.
too, though, when Dr. Loomis goes to the hardware store to find the sheriff. So I guess there are other cops in the town because they must have told him where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes there, and then Michael Myers literally drives behind him,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he doesn't even see him. That's always that might be my favorite shot. Well, there's one later in the movie that's really good too. But
Do you like it because of the way it looks, or because he's like it's right under his nose?
yeah, I
and
just
he's
think
not
everything
seeing it?
about it. I mean, it is a very, I mean, from a nerdy standpoint, it is very well framed and everything. But
Because it's
yeah,
the girls
just,
first and then him, right?
Yeah,
It's a very Wicker Park moment.
Yeah, it's just very cool. Like he's about to talk to the sheriff about this guy that literally just passed behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the state sanctioned.
And if he only
Smith's
had the
Grove.
power of eyes, he would have seen
Yeah,
him and
exactly,
said,
the
"Hey,
power of
that's my
eyes.
station wagon right there."
Yeah, so we just
It is his car. You're
I
right.
know.
How many people wouldn't notice if your car was stolen, your car driving down the street
Right.
when you're 150 miles away from where it's stolen? Oh, my God.
Yeah. But
Is
yeah.
he just looking for the car the whole time? Is Loomis just looking
He
for his
just wants
car?
his fucking car back.
Loomis doesn't give a shit about people getting murdered. He's like, I need my car back.
He's got a stash in the
My
back.
car has
I
been
know.
stolen
I am-
again.
I am-
Right.
They're going to be so mad at me down the office. I'm never going to hear the
That's
end
a
of it.
74 Volvo.
I'm never going to be able to explain this.
right. It's
my
official.
God.
Oh, sure, a psychiatric patient stole your car.
Right.
Hawkins is going to give me shit all month
Right.
about this car.
You just got drunk and left it somewhere, right? Okay, so now they're babysitting, and Annie drops them off at night, and they don't notice that there's this guy wearing a mask driving an official police business car behind them the whole time, like really close to him. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they get out of the car,
Yeah.
there's headlights on them.
I know.
Right.
Like you pointed that out. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's literally headlights on them. Or maybe Luke pointed it out. But,
Yeah.
But the girls are stoned, so
Well, that's fair.
maybe they just think it's like a psychedelic car that's behind them. And they don't-
I've been really, really high before. I've never seen some floating cars behind me. Like, not once.
or Michael Myers.
Yeah.
No, I've seen him a few times.
maybe
No,
some
he
other-
stopped by.
We cool.
Yeah, so they drop them off. So they're now babysitting.
They're not all babysitting, are they?
Well,
No.
Linda's not.
Annie-
Linda,
yeah.
I think Linda
That's
was.
her name.
like
I
on-
keep-
Annie and Lori are babysitting.
Annie
Yes.
is curly head.
Yes. PJ Souls is Linda.
Right.
Yes, Red
Right.
Hat
And Linda
what I
is
call it.
off on a date, I
With
guess.
Bob.
Yeah,
She's
with Bob.
Linda's
probably
with
getting
Bob.
finger blasted by Bob.
Finger blasted.
Yeah.
That's
Bob
gotta go
and
on
his-
our bingo
Bob,
card.
do you think
too.
Bob keeps his glasses on while he
Oh, of
finger
course
blasts?
he
Oh, yeah.
does. And
Oh,
then every
yeah.
once in a while he pushes them up, you know.
His nose, the
Oh my
bridge
God.
of his nose smells
my
like
God.
PJ Soul's vagina. For
I am never
sure.
going to be able to have sex again because that image is going to be in my head.
His hair just never moves.
My
There's just
poor,
so
my
much
poor
hairspray.
wife.
Why does your nose smell like vagina?
Okay, so Annie's making some popcorn, spills some shit all over the place.
I don't think so. I think that's it. I think Annie's making
Yeah.
popcorn.
What does she spill on herself, though? I always assumed it was butter, but
Yeah,
it's hard to
it's
tell.
like the popcorn seasoning.
Whatever
stuff.
it is, she has to get naked immediately.
I love that.
Yes.
It was amazing. Like I have been in like some.
I
like,
didn't know you could take clothes off that quick.
I know.
No.
That's how
And there were
Tom makes
there were
And
buttons
listen.
and stuff involved.
Oh,
like,
listen, ladies, I can take my clothes off real quick. This chick went from 0 to naked like so fast.
Well, it helps when you're not wearing a bra.
It was oh, she was not wearing a bra, guys. And listen, I am a fan of chicks who do not wear bras, but probably should.
do you like the no bra tall yellow sock look? Is that your?
Oh yeah,
I'm all right
with
with
the
that.
husband's
Yeah.
shirt on.
Yeah.
Who's definitely getting in trouble with his wife when he gets home.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Why is that naked babysitter wearing your shirt?
Yeah.
Damn,
You're like,
that's
I don't know,
fucked
bitch.
up.
I was with you.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
yeah, he would have like the ultimate excuse.
The
know.
mask, the guy in the mask disappears after being shot 6 times. Sure,
Uh-huh.
but there's a dead babysitter wearing this guy that's out
Oh,
of town.
he's going
his
to jail
He's going to prison
Yeah.
forever.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that wife's probably just lying for him.
Or she hates him.
Or
Yeah.
she hates him because he's fucking the babysitter, man.
Miss
Was
But
it
there are a
not
lot of
named
names
after
like
Ice?
Loomis and Wallace that are like actually people from the crew's names
Yeah.
used as
Oh, yeah?
characters.
Yeah,
And I've got
apparently,
some of those
yeah, because
written.
Wallace was.
so I thought
Tommy
Loomis
Lee
was
Wallace.
named. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Carpenter apparently was not very. He didn't like coming up with names.
Yeah.
So he just named like Michael
hear ya.
Myers was like an old friend of his.
He's
and-
one of the distributors that
Distributors,
got
that's right, yes.
Assault on
Assault-
Precinct 13.
Yeah, he was the British distributor. Or
No
something.
shit.
Yeah.
Loomis is an homage to Psycho. There's
Oh, okay.
Yes.
there's a character in Psycho named Sam Loomis.
Who is
It's
Marion Crane's
Marion Crane's
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
And
Okay.
Marion Crane is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother,
That's true,
Janet
too.
Leigh, the
Janet Leigh.
actress. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Laurie Strode was allegedly John Carpenter's first girlfriend's name.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
apparently
it's so cool.
the Michael Myers wife. I think he's long since passed, but his wife apparently was not a fan of that because.
Oh.
You mean
I'm
Nick
sure
Castle?
too. Yeah.
No. Michael Myers, the person,
Oh,
the distributor,
UK distributor.
the one that got the character got named
Well,
after.
yeah, because if you're Laurie Strode and that's your character, you know,
Yeah,
but if
now
you're
you're
like,
the biggest psychopath in the history of
Exactly.
the universe. Yeah.
although Michael Myers is a pretty standard.
Well, and
name.
I think Austin Powers or whatever kind of made that name.
Turn that around.
Michael
Turn that-
Bolton.
Yeah. Why do I got to change my
Clown.
name? He's the one that murders.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where shit starts cracking off.
Yeah, shit
Yeah.
starts going bad.
So she goes out to the separate wash house.
Yeah, that's so weird, right? The washer and dryer was like in the back shed. Is that common?
Maybe then
I
it
don't know,
was.
maybe
I
in
don't
the
know.
70s.
I don't remember ever going to a house that had that, but
I don't either.
Anyway, so she half naked trollops her way out to the wash shed, throws her clothes in the wash, uses some Tide Pods, does not eat any,
Yeah.
and then the door closes
had
and
to
it
drink
locks
the
the
Tide
door.
Pod.
I don't think there were pods. So.
Yeah, that's true. It was like the
You just snort it.
Powder.
Yeah, you powdered it out and cut it up with a razor blade on a mirror and snorted it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is in the Rob Zombie version of Halloween.
I'd
Promise
buy
it
that.
is.
I'd buy that. So then the door closes while she's in there and it locks behind her.
Yeah, it closes.
Right.
I think the skunk accomplice pushes
Yeah.
the door closed.
The skunk accomplice
Skunk accomplice?
nailed it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, doors in Haddonfield, man, they just open and close.
I
For
know.
nothing.
On a whim. It's like they all have strings
the,
attached. to
Whoever
them.
does the construction in Haddonfield blows ass too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's using all the rope for. Maybe he's tied ropes to all the doors and he's just sitting there like a
knows what's
puppet
up.
master.
He's like a marionette. Like that's amazing. So, anyway, she tries to get out. She's like banging on the door, tries to get out the window. So,
Yes.
so her boyfriend's calling at the house, and the little girl who's now a Real Housewife.
Yeah.
Right. Answers the phone and is like, "Hey, what's her name?
Annie.
Is Annie there? Yeah, she is.
And
Can
she's
you go get her?
stuck in the
Sure."
window like Tatum and Scream.
Yeah, so she's stuck in the window.
Yeah.
And the girl helps her out of the window and back in, and then
I
they
never really
leave.
thought about that. I wonder if that was a.
Like an homage.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But why doesn't Michael kill her when she's stuck in this room? Like, she is stuck in the window. Like,
I
couldn't he
think
just come up
Untying
and
all those
stab her?
ropes.
Just fuck with people.
You think so?
You know.
Yeah, you got to spread it
gotta
out over
spread
the
it
course of the
out.
night. This
Yeah.
is the greatest night of his life, too. Like,
Yeah.
he's been waiting.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's been waiting
God.
15
He
years.
doesn't want
for
to just
this,
shoot his
so.
wife. He doesn't want to
Love
kill them all in
Leslie
a minute and 6 seconds.
Exactly.
Is
Right.
what we're saying.
Annie and Lindsay go back in the house.
Yeah. And then they decide, okay, so it turns out the boyfriend can have sex with her that night. So she pawns the kid off to Laurie. They set
Right.
that whole thing up so she can go pick him up.
Right.
But he doesn't have the car keys, so she's got to go drive him.
Yeah, so she drops Real Housewife off with Lori. And then
And
goes
Ashley
Tommy
back.
Cop.
Doyle, who has a crush on Tommy, so it works out.
No,
real good
it's,
for
that's
her.
what's so great. Astro Cop and Real Housewife. I like these names.
I
Yeah,
do too,
these are
man. They
What's
belong
his nickname,
together.
Jen? So Real Housewife and Astro Cop are hanging out with Lori, but Annie goes back across the street, and that's where she gets murdered. That's where she gets.
Yeah, well,
I, guess
first-
we,
yeah.
I guess we should say the Astro Cop thing is because we have no fucking clue what this kid is trick or treating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
It's
just wearing like a milkman suit with NASA on it.
and he has a gun or something.
and it has a NASA patch on it.
Yes.
It's for the aliens.
There you go.
It's great, whatever it is.
That lineup.
Best costume ever.
Yeah.
It's like one of those where, like, you know, if you have like a mom that doesn't really care about Halloween,
Yeah.
it's like, we're just gonna put some shit together and
Just takes
you'll
like
be
a paper
that.
Kroger sack and makes
Yeah.
I
like a
definitely had those kind of costumes growing up.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
goes to the car first. She doesn't have the keys. She's singing her Billy song or Todd song. What song?
Yeah, she's singing a song, and she's going to.
Please my keys.
Oh, my
Paul.
keys,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
Paul, I
So
wanna
she
fuck
she
you,
goes, and
but I
the
can't
car's all
find my
foggy when she
keys
finally
yet.
gets in it.
Yeah.
Probably because Michael has been feverishly masturbating in it.
He definitely fogged that shit up. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
know.
he
I mean,
did.
And in a very
Because he
short
breathes
time.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Every time
breathing
he
into a
breathes.
mask. Like that sound makes
That's
sense to me
true.
because you're breathing
There's
into a
like
mask.
steam coming out of it, and that's what fogs it all up. Yeah. And so then she gets in the car.
And he chokes the shit out
Yeah,
of her.
and Todd was very scared at this point.
I
too.
did not like it, but some chicks are into being choked.
that
I
She
just-
was not.
No, she gave no consent for
That
this.
scene kind of loses a little of effectiveness at the end when she makes that face.
Oh yeah,
Her death
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Well, that and like
That's not the best death face.
No.
he
No.
slices her throat, kind of.
It looks
Yeah.
like he slices her ear.
Something. There's no blood.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like there's noise and there's
Yeah.
I thought he
implications
just crushed
there.
her throat. Like I don't know if I ever actually
You
noticed
see
the
him
knife.
swipe something that I thought. I thought it
He
was
definitely
a knife.
slices a knife across, like over,
Like her side, like
Yeah.
the side of her throat, which would not kill you.
And that's interesting about this movie because I feel like this movie is looked at as like one of the grandfathers of horror movies, but it's really not bloody at all.
No.
It's not super violent, and that just shows how effective it is.
This would almost be PG-13.
If you
now.
just
For
cut
sure.
the
I mean,
boobs out.
If you wanted to do
No.
like a TV
No.
edit, like you barely have to do anything.
yeah.
yeah,
Like AMC would play this as is probably with boobs.
Right.
With
And I've
boobs on
seen that.
AMC?
I haven't seen
They
the
might cut the boobs.
Classy.
I didn't know that the
Oh.
boobs were in it because I think all the versions I've seen have been from like cable and they didn't have the boobs. Not Cinemax, but Swayze.
Interesting story that PJ Souls apparently Carpenter was a big fan of hers.
Really?
But she was dating Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they originally wanted
Wow.
him for Bob, but he
Yeah,
had
that's
other
right.
commitments.
He would have
yeah.
been a
Right.
good Bob.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
He would-
Although,
I wanted Dennis Quaid in those glasses.
Yeah.
dude, make fun of me all you want. Bob is hot in this movie.
Love
There's
that.
something about that look
I
that
will
just,
make fun
I
of you.
will,
Yeah, I will definitely make fun of you for what you just said
I
because
don't
it
know,
is
man.
ridiculous.
Just
Bob
got
gives
that-
us the ghost.
I'm a.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
my
maybe it's
God.
the ghost. You don't want to have sex with Bob in this movie?
I do not. PJ Souls though, I'd be all right with.
Oh yeah, I would definitely give PJ Souls the push.
Okay, so speaking of PJ Souls, so that's when Bob and PJ pull up.
Yeah, they do.
And he makes a joke about ripping the babysitting child.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
and I have
clothes
to
off.
think even in 1978 that didn't play well.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
hope
they
it
had to
didn't
move
play
that
well.
laugh line up real close after he said that joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so they go into this house, which is Lindsay's Real Housewives house
Yes.
that they are no longer in. So part of the slasher trope is the terrible place. And one of the things about this movie is I didn't ever really think about that because it's just everybody's houses. But I guess this house is where really all the murders happen.
Yes, every murder takes place in that house.
Yeah,
Or
except
in
for the
car.
one at the beginning.
Correct.
But that's in the garage of the house.
Yeah. No,
so
no,
on
you're
the
right.
property.
Except for the one at the beginning. Which one? Oh, you mean the? Yeah, I
In
got
the
you.
Myers
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
This is the Screamtown house for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they pull up and they're just going to have sex in this house. No, I think they're going to hang out with Annie and her boyfriend, right?
That was the original plan, right?
And then
But
they're going to
not
go up
there.
into
I
one
think
of the
they were definitely
bedrooms.
planning on having sex at some point.
Yeah, because
Yeah, well,
everybody's
they-
like, and go immediately
mean-
into the bedroom in the right.
And I kind of get that. I mean, you're a teenager.
Yeah.
If you're a
Yeah.
sexually
Active.
active
For sure.
teenager, I could totally see that. Even in college, you had to find weird places sometimes.
Right,
Yeah.
you can't do it in that weirdo van.
I mean, you probably could have.
It doesn't even say
Yeah,
official
I-
business
that's
on
the
it.
best
Thinking that
place.
though, I was gonna say that van. That's not like he had he didn't have like a little Datsun. I mean,
Right.
he had a full on van.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
totally could have shacked in
They
that.
had
I mean, it would've been
plenty
fun.
of room
I
and
just said
time. There's
shack.
no way he was going to take longer than 1:06.
Yeah, maybe
Right?
he likes to seduce her in an actual bed because he's romantic.
That dude's not romantic.
No, he's not.
There is nothing.
No.
But this is the guy that does suggest having a threesome with a 6-year-old. So
Right.
he's definitely.
She's probably about 9 or 10, I'd say.
Oh, and that makes it so much better.
No, it does not make it okay. But yeah, so they're just hanging out, and then they realize that Annie has dropped off Lindsay, so they don't have to worry about any kids, so they can just bone all over the house.
And they go immediately upstairs. Yeah.
They do, yeah. Light a jack-o'-lantern right next to him because that's what really gets one of
Yeah.
them.
And where
yeah.
are these? How late are these parents? I don't know what time this is supposed to be.
They went off into to the Haddonfield Screamtown terrible parent party.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Like, how much is there to do in this town?
They're at a key party somewhere in town. Like,
they're at a fishbowl of keys party.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean seriously, that's a theme. No good parents, and if the parents had just come home, well, they probably would have been murdered too.
Yeah, they would have been.
Or just beat his ass.
Right, exactly. Or
Like just
called
dad comes in and just beats the fuck out of
Right.
this guy.
That'd be
Movie's over.
hilarious, though.
Then they're upstairs having jack-o'-lantern sex, and then
Oh, this is where Michael comes. Well, sorry,
you
this is
see
where
him-
Bob comes, and then Michael's downstairs, right?
Well played.
PJ Souls lights both of them a cigarette. They start smoking.
She's
She
a
goes,
lady.
"Get me a beer."
That's
So
like when you reach over and open the door if it's raining for the guy who just opened your door.
Yeah.
Classy.
So we call it the reach around. And so he goes downstairs to get a beer. The door opens. He walks over to the door, checks one of the closets, not there, and then checks the other one. And Michael Myers comes out and stabs him in to the pantry or whatever.
Well, lifts him up first, and first of all, I love the reveal of where he is, because he's standing where there's 3 doors and they're all open, or he could be anywhere, and then he just jams out and lifts him up. I don't know.
And then stabs him into the pantry door. The shot of him just in the air, held up by the knife, is a pretty cool shot.
And this is the first time you get like the puppy dog like head tilt when he's looking at him a little bit, a little inquisitive.
When I think, and knowing that he's like so big on setting this shit up, I think he's admiring his work.
Yeah, or just like fascinated.
He's like, I can't believe this motherfucker's still in the air.
Right, because he hasn't been.
Yeah.
Is this, besides Annie, this is the first person he's killed in the last 15 years, right? So he's probably been thinking about this a lot. So apparently Carpenter gave him very, very little acting direction, and it was basically like walk from here to here and don't act at all. But this was one of the only notes he gave him, was to look at it like you would look at a butterfly collection. And so that's the tilting his head. And it is a really great shot. I think it's lit really well, and it's just creepy.
It's effective.
As fuck, man.
Okay, so he goes upstairs dressed like a ghost.
Dressed like
with
ghost,
Bob's
and I
glasses
love
on
this
him.
part, man.
And then PJ is like, "What are you doing, Bob? Whatever."
Yeah, don't you hear my boobs? Don't you want to fuck me again?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they are pretty nice, guys. Seriously. And then she goes and calls Jamie Lee Curtis on the phone.
Yeah, because this is going nowhere.
And then Michael Myers comes up and strangles her with the phone cord.
Now, you said something that like kind of fucked with me, because I'd never
too.
thought of this
before. And she dies thinking that Bob kills her.
That's fucked
which
up.
is real fucked up. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't believe you haven't thought of that. Like, I don't know. I guess I see it differently than most people do. Or
because
you
you
guys
haven't
have.
watched this movie a billion times and grown up knowing that
I guess that's
Michael
true.
Myers.
Yeah.
And I watched this movie the first time when I was a kid, so I wasn't thinking about stuff like that.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
As I got older.
Cerebral impacts of what just happened.
But that's, I mean, not that it's going to stick with her that long, but that'd be like a horrible last thought. My boyfriend that I just fucked is
didn't bring me a
murdering
beer,
me.
and he killed me.
He didn't even bring me a beer.
I know.
Exactly.
After I did the 2 cigarette trick.
I know.
And fucked him. Like, there's so many reasons why her boyfriend should not be murdering
Yeah, she
her
was
right now.
like, God, she was a hell of a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I mean-
Would have boned again. All right. So this is
She
where
didn't even need her
Jamie Lee
in that.
Curtis is on the phone when the murder's happening. So she starts to get suspicious.
Finally.
Yeah.
And so she's she's finally suspicious. Oh, okay. So apparently Carpenter had a fear scale, because they shot so much of this out of order, that he would give Jamie Lee Curtis like, okay, you're scared at a 6 right now, or you're scared
That's
at
a
a
lot
9.
of people
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. She had
I
like
thought
what?
that was interesting. Like certain faces that would go with 7.
That's
and
cool,
then certain
yeah.
screams.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's finally starting to take the shit seriously. She goes over because she gets the call, and oh my God, she's hearing these noises that sound just like she's given like deep throat. You know,
Oh yeah, for
over
sure.
the phone.
So she's like, "Oh, it's just my silly
she's just
slutty
sucking a
friend
dick,
again."
man.
Yeah, it's my slutty friend again. Or whatever.
Well, she thinks it's
Nancy.
Annie. It's not even Annie, so she's not very good at figuring out her friend's moans.
She's
True.
not.
In all fairness, I don't know my friend's moans
I don't
either.
know. I don't know
Like,
how you. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why she would have just thought that was like an obscene phone caller or
Right.
something. Because like she had caller ID. Like,
God, God damn it! I know it's you.
I mean, in all fairness,
It does seem like something you would
that
do.
is something I would do probably. Yeah. Todd, damn it.
God damn it.
Nailed it.
Put it on a condom.
You guys don't get that joke. Look at our Instagram.
Yeah, for real.
An awesome
okay.
fan made a bunch of awesome condoms for us.
Yes, it's really cool. So Lori goes to investigate. So she's like, something's going on.
Right, and she starts
so
to
she
look around
walks
the
across
house,
to
right?
the
Because every door is open. She can just walk in.
Right. And
then
the
she
windows
walks.
are open too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she walks upstairs and
Checks on the kids. They
Right.
sleep in the same bed.
right. Well, and then she goes next door.
Yeah, she goes across,
across the street, sorry,
to the terrible house where everybody's dead. She goes upstairs. Okay, so she can't turn the lights on. And the
Yeah, that's
power-
unclear still.
Yeah,
You know.
And I mean,
That's why I think he stole the light bulbs, because the power is on, because in that in the terrible place, in the room where all the dead bodies are, there is lighting, and it's not just the jack-o'-lantern.
That was totally the jack-o'-lantern.
No, there's no way that
They opened the door. There's no other light on.
Yeah,
I guess that's
it's the
true.
evil power of the jack-o'-lantern.
the evil power of the jack-o'-lantern.
You think he burned any of his fingers when he was
He definitely
those
did.
light bulbs? You
He's
know, like
running
the
around
first
with like
one?
matches and like light bulbs jingling in his pockets and shit. Like he's just like, I
should've,
don't like
like-
this jack-o'-lantern. She's never gonna find the terrible place if I don't like
You want to
this-
give him some shit why he didn't kill someone anything out a window. Like, he's got shit to do.
Right. He's got a whole lot in his house.
He's busy. Anyway.
And
so
she didn't even walk down the hallway where he put all the light bulbs as a Home Alone trap. All that wasted effort.
Wasted effort.
I know,
So she
man.
goes into the room, sees all the dead bodies, sees
Yes.
the tombstone at the end of the bed.
And this is an important part of the final girl slasher formula too, because she is the one who's aware of the full trauma of the event. Because like
Yeah.
you said, Red Hat believes that it's her boyfriend that kills her the whole time, because she doesn't know anything else that's gone on. She doesn't even know her boyfriend's
Yeah.
dead, you know. But Lori is the one that really absorbs absorbs all of the trauma, and that's what the staging of the tableau is for. So she really understands the effects of what's going on, and I think that's what ultimately gives her like the courage and the strength to fight back.
She's like, wait a minute, this might be the guy that's been following me all day.
Exactly.
Well, then she like stumbles onto the hallway, and this is the thing where you sort of subtly see his face. You don't see anything else but his face.
Super good shot.
That
It
scared
really
the fuck
is.
out of me, man. Like it was very effective.
They did that with a dimmer switch. They just turned
Really?
it on. Yeah.
Nice. Well, anyway, so he stabs at her, and
He gives her a little pinprick on her arm.
Yeah.
Slices her whole
this guy
sleeve
who
off.
has been a surgeon with his knife just stabs her subtly in the shoulder.
Basically Dr. Giggles,
Yeah.
man.
Well,
And
she's
then
kind of moving away from him, though.
Yeah.
I guess that's fine.
And
that's
she's
fine.
the final
But
girl.
then
She's
she
got shoulders of
falls
steel.
very
Down the
far.
stairs.
Dude, yeah. How did she not just die in that fall?
So she gets up and runs out of the house, right?
Yes,
And then she goes back to the house
She runs
she's actually
across,
babysitting
She can't
at.
get in. She tries to get in, but
Dude, she throws a pot at the window.
Well, but she goes to the next door house first.
Oh, that's true,
And
that's true, you're right,
the
right.
guy like peeks out the
Fuck
window.
those guys.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. That's like the
That's
dairy
like the
house,
worst
man.
person ever. Someone's getting murdered outside. I'm like, you know what? I'm good.
Because kids
gonna
are
help.
not that sophisticated. Then that's not somebody trick or treating, man.
Yeah. So then she runs back to the house she's babysitting at, which is across the street.
Which is actually probably smarter because the kids have someone to protect her. They're not, or them. They're not like alone in a house.
But
when
they're
they kill
asleep in the
everyone.
bed, so they don't hear her. So
They
she,
don't.
She throws a pot at the window, and then the stupid slow kid comes down like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get there when I get there."
He lost his
Mike
astrocop
Myers is
powers
walking
when
over.
he took off his costume.
Yeah, he is a shitty astrocop. This kid is the
He wasn't
worst.
in uniform anymore.
I know, yeah.
He's like, I'm off. I'm getting too old for this
He's
shit.
more like the deputy Dewey.
I'm on duty. I'm having some drinks.
He's
So
the
he's-
deputy Dewey of the astrocop force.
So he finally opens the door. She goes,
Yeah. And they go upstairs and they hide somewhere, right?
well, the kid does, but she doesn't.
And then she realizes the window's open, so the killer could be anywhere.
One, he is anywhere.
And she takes her knitting needles because she's been knitting earlier because she is for sure a virgin. And then she stabs him in the neck with a knitting needle.
And that doesn't kill him.
It doesn't. Yeah. I don't know.
And then she has the knife for a bit, right?
She does have the knife. Yeah, because he drops it, I think, right?
Yeah, I think he dropped.
Yeah, she has
because
the
he
knife.
stabs the
He's
couch.
busting through the closet trying to get her. She stabs him in the fucking eye, and then he drops the knife.
Considering, I was gonna say, considering what doesn't kill him, I'm willing to let the knitting needle go.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
He
he
also
gets
got
stabbed in the
shot
eye
in the
with a
chest
coat
6
hanger.
times.
That's true.
That's true.
He
And
got
fell
the
off
full
back.
50 cent and made it.
He got
He's
shot.
like,
He got shot in the
he's-
face at one point. I mean, that's what it looks like, at least when
Yeah.
he's in that
So did
hallway.
50.
He didn't give a fuck.
That's what I say about any of these horror movies, man. Hey, 50 did it.
Have we ever seen Fiddy and Michael Myers in the same place?
No,
at the
but
same time?
Michael Myers' hands are white.
Buster
I'm not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've seen Buster Rhymes and Michael Myers in the same place.
This is kind of where it starts to get a little tedious because, like,
Yeah.
I killed him. No, he's still alive. I killed him. No, he's still alive. Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of that back and forth.
but again, this happened at a time where, like, that wasn't something that happened
We hadn't
all
seen
the
this
time.
before. Yeah.
It wasn't a cliche yet.
Yes.
enough.
Because if you think about it, there are two, well, Carol Clover thought about it. There are two types of final girls, kind of. The final girl either survives long enough to be rescued or she actually kills the killer.
Yeah.
And so that's what Jamie Lee Curtis does. And I'm not saying this to hate on Jamie Lee Curtis at all because I think she's an awesome final girl. But we hadn't really seen this play out enough. And I think her reactions are super realistic to what you would actually do if somebody was attacking you, you know? She doesn't go back and check to see if he's dead. Like I kept thinking, because I've seen these movies so many times, like, okay, you go up and you see you've got the knife in your hand. At least just watch him with the knife.
Well, I
Don't let him
wonder
get
about
back
that,
up,
and
you know?
I kind of check myself because I'm like, we always expect like he's not dead, just stab him 50 more times.
Yeah.
Like, would
Right.
we really do that? Like, if someone broke
Exactly.
in, like,
Man,
would
I'm
we
pretty-
just turn into cold blood fucking murder and
Uh-huh.
stab
And she's
someone
probably
50
in
times?
shock.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
I
yeah.
definitely would call the cops. Like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
True.
I mean, you
I
do live in a
wouldn't-
town where every cop sucks, but still.
Right. Now, here's what I would not do, though, is turn my
least call
back
your
and just
dad.
sit there
Right,
exactly.
forever.
Yeah.
But is this where not Ahab, but Loomis comes
Loomis.
in with the revolver?
Yep.
Yes, and that's one of the
Like it's
slashers in the 70s. You see like the man come back or a male appear at the last minute to save
Yeah,
the day.
yeah.
You don't really see that in the 80s anymore. Or you see the man come back at the very end and then he gets killed.
The cops show up. He's like, and this for Michael Myers. I shot him in the bedroom with the
With
revolver.
the revolver. I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
Oh, man.
And see. Nailed it. They shoot him. He falls off the balcony. And then Loomis checks on Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis is
She
fine.
says,
He walks to the
"Was
balcony
that the
and
boogeyman?"
Mike Myers is gone. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it was the boogeyman.
That's a cool line, though.
It is very
a
cool,
line,
yeah.
yeah. And there's one line when Tommy Doyle says, "You can't kill the boogeyman."
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's
You
right.
can't.
He
You
is
can't.
right. Like 11 movies later,
Right.
he's still
Yeah.
right. Because Dr. Loomis walks back and he's not there anymore.
I have a
He's gone.
And that's
prediction.
the weird thing about this series. Like Michael Myers has never been dead. Basically, I mean, they've
Yeah.
never at least
No,
they've always
he's
made it
never,
seem like
come
he's
back
alive.
from hell.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
It's not like Freddy versus Jason or something
right.
like that.
Jason
Yeah.
Right,
goes to
right.
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just fucking tough, man.
Right, exactly. Well, okay, so there's a lot of talk about what this movie means and like the final girl thing and like the lots of analytical stuff that's gone into thinking about this movie. And Carpenter's really said they were just thinking about how evil never dies.
Yeah.
And that's really the
I
theme
think that
of
happens
it.
with a lot of these movies. Like Texas Chainsaw gets this crazy thing, and everyone's like, "Dude, we were just trying to make a movie for cheap."
Exactly.
You know?
Well, and
And they
because
did.
this movie is so simplistic in a lot of ways, I feel like there's a lot of room to really analyze things like
Yeah.
that, you know? And The Shining, I think, I hate The Shining, but that's one of those movies that's got a lot of empty space in it for you to fill with your own projections. And I think Halloween's one of those.
I'm
kind of
surprised
movies.
you don't like The Shining because you love to project your shit into horror movies.
I do, but I project all of my hatred for The Shining onto that movie.
fair. That's fair.
And all of my love of the original book.
There are
Right.
enough crazy people projecting their shit on The Shining.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we'll have.
Like Kubrick did. Yeah.
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 Oh, we'll talk
I
about it.
get
We'll
it.
have an episode.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Okay. And here's one thing I noticed the last time that I watched it is at the very end, there's just like shots of all the scenes we've seen with his heavy breathing over it.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
I took to mean he could be anywhere of these places
Yeah. I
think
because
that's
we
what
don't
you're
know
Yeah,
where it
he's
is.
everywhere.
Yeah. And
That's what I
had
took from it,
noticed
too,
He's
yeah.
he's still alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that's the
Mhm.
thing.
Maybe he's
So,
here. Maybe
I
he's
mean,
there.
when was the last time that you guys watched this?
I think a
I've
couple
never
of
seen it
Halloweens
Never
before.
for Todd,
ago.
obviously.
Mine was a couple of Halloweens ago while I was like folding laundry.
I've seen it this year.
Okay.
Have you?
Okay. How do you think it holds up? Like,
very well.
yeah, you think so? Todd, what do you think?
I mean, I think it holds up. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it when I was a kid or anything,
Sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
this doesn't strike me as a movie that.
Other than
fine.
the tearing the 8-year-old's clothes off, I feel
right,
like it holds
right.
up
Well, that's
very
just
well.
Bob being a perv.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that still holds up.
Exactly.
Bob went on to start a film company called Dimension.
Oh no,
TWC.
Miramax.
Miramax. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's good. This movie used to scare me. Like legit scare me
This movie
when I
scared me.
watched it. I don't really get that anymore, but
I
maybe
don't
it's
think
just because
nothing really scares me anymore, though. I mean,
Oh my God.
it's got to be
I'm
everything's
so
got to
envious.
everything's got to align just right to get the
Yeah.
S word out of me.
yeah, but
you know?
I've got a lot of real life fears that
Yeah.
really irrational real life fears that are just stupid. But I think that's why I watch horror movies a lot. Actually,
Sure, yeah.
it's a lot safer.
And it's cathartic, you know.
Yeah, and I mean there are still things that scare me, like like home invasion movies freak me out. I mean there's certain things, but no, this doesn't scare me anymore. I mean it's got a lot of it's got atmosphere
Yeah.
that most horror movies don't have.
Yes, and it's thrilling,
and that
you
it's
know.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So do you want to let's just jump into scary scale since we're
Okay,
talking about how
since we
scary
are talking
it was.
about it, hold on, let me find it. Okay, so our scary scale is not the quality of the movie, but we are rating how scary we thought the movie was today when we watched
Right.
it. So not the first time we'd seen it, not how scary we thought it then, but how scary we thought it was today.
Right.
Not a quality of the movie. Our 1 is Ghostbusters, and our 10 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'll give this a 4 because
Dang.
there were quite a few times I jumped,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. We've seen much scarier movies than this.
It's interesting that 10 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't have a lot of blood in it either.
It really doesn't.
No, it's not at all.
And I think I chose that too because I think that just has kind of an aura about it.
It
And
does.
maybe it's just for me.
I think
like,
people
that
know
was,
what you mean.
Right.
whenever
That
you
was
say
the
it.
one that
yeah.
I was always
So
terrified
for
to
me, the
watch.
scariest movie I've ever seen is Hereditary. Like it's the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I stood up and yelled "fuck" at the screen
Yeah.
in the theater. Like I was terrified.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think a lot like Hereditary, just has this feeling of unknown, like unsettling, underlaying things are coming undone the whole time, like you're not quite sure where you're standing. And I think Halloween, we're kind of grounded in reality, like we know what a house looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe there's somebody in the closet, but like maybe it's just a regular bathroom like our bathroom, you know?
Right. So what do you guys give it scary scale? So let's
I'm
go.
right
Luke.
with you. I'm gonna say 4.
Yeah.
That seems fair.
Yeah, I 4 or 5 somewhere in that area. I mean, yeah, I'll go 4.
4. I'm giving it a 4 as well.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
A
look
bunch
at
of
that.
fours.
Yeah,
Fours
a
across the board.
four-fecta.
It's a fourgasm, guys.
Oh, no, I said 4.
So yeah. So let's talk box office real
Yeah.
quick. So they shot this movie for $325,000, which is insane.
I mean, people say that, but that's still a lot of money. In
It
the
is,
70s,
and-
that's a shit ton
That's
of money,
true.
man.
And they
I don't
got
know,
a lot of
that's-
that money because of Assault on Precinct 13, I think.
Like a lot of the movies we talk about,
That'd
these
be a
days
lot
are
of money
filmed-
today,
That's what I'm
wouldn't it?
talking about. Like today, like $100K gets you a hell of a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you and Jacob had $325K,
I
man.
wish, dude. God Country
You'd be
would be
good
legit if we had $325K. $250K.
Well, and like they scrimped
I
on
can't
all
wait
of
for
this
that.
stuff. Like Jamie
I
Lee
think costs are
Curtis.
different now than they were then, though. I
True.
think
Yes.
film and
We can get a camera at Best Buy.
location.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they were shooting in California. I don't know how all that worked then, but yeah, that does seem like a little more. Like I feel like there had to be movies shot for less than that then.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Carpenter was no bum. You
No.
know?
Right.
I mean,
yeah, and it wasn't his first movie
Right,
either. It's
right.
not like he was scraping this together like from his piggy bank.
Yeah.
or
But that's
anything.
the thing. Was Assault on Precinct 13? That it couldn't have been that much.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I've never seen.
Yeah,
that
I have
one,
no
actually.
idea.
It's actually a good. It's not really a horror movie, but,
But-
it's a good movie.
I mean, no matter what, going in with $300K and coming out with, I mean, what?
yeah.
It's roughly $1.5 million today.
Well, I mean, for like theatrical.
And this is just for
Yeah,
this
well,
one, right?
So it went in for they spent $325,000 making it.
Yeah.
And they made $47,000 domestically, and that's just box office. It's not including how much they made in video or any of that shit.
Right, merch and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So they made
nowadays.
a lot of money.
Movies were released a lot differently back then too. Movies,
for
most
sure.
movies were released on I don't know what you would call it, but it was like a traveling schedule basically. They would open up kind of like small movies do now. They would open up in LA.
have like a road show.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it would just kind of so it was moving around for like 6 months making this kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people would hear about it, then it would come to their town, and they'd be like, "Oh, we gotta go fucking see this Halloween movie."
Yeah.
At the drive-in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, so
My mom saw this with my dad when she was pregnant with me, and she says that this is why that I like scary movies so much, because I saw this movie in
That
the
makes
room.
sense.
I know.
It
yeah.
makes zero sense.
Checks out.
That seems
No.
legit. Seems legit, guys. Yeah. I am no scientist.
my mom, see,
But it
and
seems
my
legit.
mom just took me to horror movies,
Oh,
so
did
I
you?
didn't really have much of a choice.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I don't really have. I feel like lots of
we had
people
a lot
know
of-
about this stuff.
We had a lot of them peppered in too.
We did. And I feel like this is one that kind of everybody knows is the mask was actually William Shatner's
Sure.
mask, and they painted it like
Was it?
fish belly blue.
You didn't know that?
You didn't
I
know
didn't know
that?
that,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
But
This
not-
is
I'm
why
sorry,
we have
yeah.
a virgin on our show.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's very interesting.
And then I learned recently, even though it was a Captain Kirk mask, the mold was from a movie he did. It wasn't even from Star Trek.
Oh, really?
Which is
Right.
really weird. It's a
Interesting.
movie he did like called The Devil's Rain, I think.
And they did some stuff like they hollowed out the
widened-
eyes way more. Like it just
And they
looks a
spray
lot more
painted the face.
menacing.
They also bought a clown mask, and that
Right.
was they were trying to decide between two, and they ultimately went with this one.
I'm glad they didn't
Yeah.
do a clown mask, but I'm
It-
sure
it
they
just
could've
would have
made
been
it
a
look good,
total-
too.
Well,
Totally
you would
different
know. I
movie.
mean, I don't know if you know any different, but
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
now this is iconic. So
But
Absolutely.
it
the
is what it is.
mask, it's just so emotionless, and I think that's what makes him so terrifying.
works.
You know, it does.
Yeah.
It really does. One of the reasons they shot it on Halloween was for budget reasons, because they would have had to have less wardrobe changes if it was all on a single day.
There you go.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I've talked a little bit about Final Girls, but I want to say Carol Clover's book, Men, Women, and Chainsaws. She's
Take a
got,
shot.
mark your bingo cards. She's got a long chapter about the slasher formula. So if you're curious about this, if any of the things that I've said like pique your interest, check out that book. It's really good.
It is. I can.
Is
I
it
can
on
Have you read
Audible?
it?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good call. Is it on Audible?
It's
Because
not on Audible, and
Oh.
because I wanted to listen to it for so long. Yeah, it's not. Hey, Audible,
yeah.
what
Get
are you
on it,
doing?
Audible.
I know.
So next week, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Oh, we are doing new Halloween.
Yeah. So the reason we're doing this
yeah.
one this week is because next Monday you guys will be going to Halloween, and we'll be
Yeah.
editing that, or I'll be editing that over the weekend. So you guys get that episode on Monday.
And Todd will be the only person in the world that has only seen the original
Yes.
Halloween and the new
Which
Halloween.
is really the best way to experience this.
Yeah,
That's what
I mean,
people have been
it's a
telling me.
direct
So I'm
sequel,
excited that I'm
so-
seeing it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll put H2O on the list because I love H2O.
Yeah.
Same. We're like two of the only people that like H2O.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Hey, let's plug some stuff,
Yeah.
man.
So if you want to
Huh?
listen to Luke more, he has his own podcast called the Modern Horrors Podcast on the Modern Horrors Podcast Network
It's a
that we
flagship
are
show.
a part of. Yeah.
It's there.
So if you
Yeah.
want to check out that podcast,
Yeah, they've all Final Girls and
Final
Death,
Girls
Dying, and Other
Death,
Things.
Dying, and Other Things.
We're also going to be, me and Jacob and Jonathan
I
are going to
was
be hanging out on the Cinema Sins podcast that is going to drop Monday, I think, right?
This is going to drop Monday.
Yeah, so it'll be same day.
So the same
We'll
day.
get double Luke and Jonathan
Oh
on
my
Monday.
goodness.
Nice.
Ladies.
Wow.
So check it out, ladies. Stealing my catchphrase? Ladies.
Sorry.
I'm not single, ladies.
No.
If you want to follow us, it's at Horror Virgin on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's Jen Ferratu on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm
Yep.
Todd J. Awesome on
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter.
Email
Yeah.
us. We
Tell
want to
us-
hear what you think. Did
Tell
you
us what
like
you thought
Halloween?
about this movie. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
I'll say this. I liked this movie. I wouldn't watch it again, but I get it. I get why it started what it started.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense, but I would never watch it again unless I had to.
Did it kindle your love of horror movies?
No,
now?
I still hate horror movies. I hated this movie, but I get it. Like, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Is that
It was fun watching it with you guys,
It
man.
was-
Yeah.
Thanks for
well,
having me
thank-
on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. It was awesome. Oh,
So, Luke and Jonathan, thank you guys for being
I'm
here.
Jen. How do we end our podcast?
Well, I just thank the guests.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guests.
And then
I'm Jen.
I'm Todd.
Oh my
We'll
God.
see you next week. Oh my God. Bye. Nerd.